Hello to you all and welcome to Improvate's Homeland Security and Cyber Europe Israel 2021 International Conference. I'm Lauren Izo. Improvate is a platform for creating long-lasting connections, enabling change makers in technology and decision makers in government to make progress through innovation. Improvate is all about finding solutions and sparking collaborations that improve the quality of life for people around the world. Today's broadcast will be dedicated to the important fields of homeland security and cyber as homeland security threats continue to proliferate, from terrorism to public safety, criminal activity, and climate-induced natural disasters. Governments around the world are looking for innovative technological solutions to a host of challenges. Israel, out of necessity, as a nation surrounded by threats and needing to defend its borders, has emerged at the forefront of homeland security innovation and technology. Today, we will be hearing from special guest, former world chess champion Garry Kasparov, top European and Israeli homeland security officials, and cyber and HLS experts. We will also hear from leading Israeli companies in the field: IAI ELTA, Cyabra, Cytech, BLUEBIRD, Aero Systems, General Robotics, First Point, Capture Systems, AuDetect, MAGAL Security, Infinidome, SmartShooter, AccuBeat, TerraFence, EMG. And as always, watching along with us are representatives of investment funds from around the world who are looking to invest in Israeli innovation. Now with us here in the studio are Improvate founder and chair Irina Nevzlin, David Rokach, managing partner at SOSA HLSTECH Innovation Hub, and Yair Maor from IAI ELTA. Welcome, all of you. Thank you so much for joining me. We will come back to you guys soon. First, Irina, I want to start with you. So you are the Improvate founder and chair, of course. Among your many achievements, you are an entrepreneur and author who recently published the book, The Impact of Identity, The Power of Knowing Who You Are. Thank you so much, Irina, for joining me in the studio today. So Improvate was founded almost a year ago. In that time, you've conducted several successful conferences. I think we said this is the 9th, and created business connections in over 20 countries. Can you tell us a bit about your vision and where you see Improvate in another year from now?
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here, and I do hope that in a couple of months from now, we're going to actually meet in a physical conference, finally,
Absolutely.
that the institution will allow us. Look, I very much believe in bringing the right people with the right state of mind together. And by right state of mind, I mean the ability to create win-win partnerships, the ability to choose to focus on solutions instead of problems. And so this is the DNA of the company. As you said, we've created a company to make sure that there's a lot of amazing innovation going on around, created every day, and we just want to make sure that we help people to make it accessible to millions of people around the world. Now, hopefully we are emerging, hard to tell now because with the new variant and everything, but hopefully we're on track on emerging from COVID crisis. And at the time like that, technology will play a major role in kickstarting the economy of the countries because we've all been slowed down, open and closed offices and everything. And that's why I believe that Improvate will play a critical role in making sure that the right technology comes and meets real need.
And today's conference deals with homeland security and cyber sectors, where Israel is, of course, a global leader. How do you see the importance of these fields in defending democracy?
Wow, big question. Look, I know a lot about the importance of democracy because of I was born in the country with totalitarian regime in Russia. And what we can see now is that we live in the world of deep fake. We live in the world where country can bully its neighbors and suppress its citizens using digital technologies. Country can intervene in other countries' elections. So we live in a very difficult time for democracies. Now, as you said rightly, Israel was put in the situation of making sure to find solutions for its security out of a real practical need. It's in our very short history, we faced a lot of security challenges. So I think we're in a great place now to bring this technology to where it's really needed. And that's, unfortunately, in many places around the world.
Sure. All right, Irina, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
All right, on that note, let's move to our special guest today, Mr. Garry Kasparov. Garry Kasparov came to international fame at the age of 22 as the youngest world chess champion in history. His famous chess matches against the IBM supercomputer Deep Blue were key to bringing artificial intelligence and chess into the mainstream. They also sparked his passionate interest in AI and the human relationship with increasingly intelligent machines. He's the chairman of the New York-based Human Rights Foundation, ambassador for Avast Software, where he discusses cybersecurity and the digital future, and is on the executive board of the Foundation for Responsible Robotics. In 2017, he founded the Renew Democracy Initiative, dedicated to promoting the principles of the free world. The US-based Kasparov Chess Foundation nonprofit promotes the teaching of chess in education systems around the world. Kasparov is the author of 3 books: How Life Imitates Chess, Winter is Coming, and Deep Thinking, Where Machine Intelligence Ends and Human Creativity Begins. Kasparov recently joined Improvate's advisory board. Thank you so much, Mr. Kasparov. It is such an honor to have you with us.
Thank you very much for these kind words, and hello everyone. And again, thank you for having me here. Oh, well, not here, but it's still an honor to be speaking with you today. I'm not doing much of a traveling these days for obvious reasons, but probably flying today would be easier than joining you at 4 a.m. from New York. There are many interesting and important questions and presentations to come today, so I won't spend too much time on opening remarks. And in event and conversation dominated by talking about these amazing machines, I would like to take the opportunity to remind us not to forget about humans in the picture. I would like to move to the panel, to this distinguished panel, and to start a dialogue. And just, a few words about general things, about humans and machines. Because, of course, you can call me prejudiced, considering my experience playing chess against machines. But I long ago became an advocate for AI and for how intelligent machines will help us be more creative and our work less routine. Properly use AI, and I want just to also take just a moment to say that I'm not very happy to hear AI as artificial intelligence all the time. I think AI could be considered as a trio. It's intelligent AI as artificial intelligence for machines, authentic intelligence for humans. But what counts as a product is augmented intelligence, not artificial. And it makes us smarter the way the telescope extends our vision. And like any tool, it can be used for good or evil. There will be questions about that. And I always want to say that, humans, unfortunately, still have monopoly for evil. That's why talking about evil AI probably doesn't make much sense. It's like talking about, evil electricity or ethical internet. So for all the talk today about regulating AI technology, especially in Europe, so it's important to remember that it all comes down to trust. So people will trust AI if they trust people behind it. And of course, these days, with pandemics, it becomes ever more difficult for us to fight bad guys, to fight those who are trying to use technology with malice intentions, because so many people now are stuck to their computers, and all of a sudden the number of potential targets had increased dramatically. I don't know, tenfold, hundredfold. I saw some statistics from Avast about number of attacks on all different avenues explored by bad guys, and there's nothing here. It's not surprising because we are now have no choice but to sit in front of our computers, and also people typically they used to rely on security provided by in their offices, and obviously home security is not as sophisticated. And while these threats keep growing, I don't see there's any other chance for us to counter them unless we know how to use AI. And again, that brings us back to the trust. And trust means also that we need to have a degree of transparency and accountability. That may sound a little bit awkward in security conference, but it's the opposite. The greater the power, the more serious the task, the more important is to have a chain of responsibilities and trust. You cannot just say, oh, blame the algorithm, because again, at the end of the day, it all goes back to people. So I just, before we go into the conversation, I would like us to remember that, with all, powers to the machines, we should not forget about centering the humanity, not technology, when we discuss and describe these amazing new machines. So remind people that AI exists to serve them and to make their lives better and safer. Again, it's naturally that many people would like to take the opposite view because they see AI as opportunity to benefit at our expense. But that's probably the main topic of our conversation today: how to make sure that we'll find a way to use this enormous power of AI to guarantee that we will secure our use of internet and all these beautiful technologies. Thank you.
Right, so Mr. Kasparov, you've obviously written extensively about artificial intelligence. Can you tell us how AI can contribute to public safety and homeland security? And conversely, what are its dangers?
Look, it's as I already said, it's the threats that we are facing today. They come on multiple layers, and AI in one form or another is being used by bad guys. They also know how to use it, and unlike nuclear, for instance, it's much easier to spread around. So all the attempts to stop the proliferation, they are futile because it's so easy. You don't even have to move it physically. You just you can download files, and to fight back, we have to find a way to utilize the AI and just to build our own layers of defense, and I think that's it's still the responsibility of the free world to make sure that that technology is not working against us but for us. But there will be always a balance. It's like a sword and shield, and more technology we see on the market, the more the threats that more dangerous the threats that we have to deal with. Again, people are just very creative, whether they do good things or bad things, and we just have to live with this reality. And I just to conclude the answer to this question, I don't see there's any chance for us to fight back unless we find a way to use AI and bring it in, and just to be one step ahead of those who are trying to use AI for malice purpose.
Sir, would you agree that AI has the potential to be a game changer in homeland security and can create a reality in which terrorists, criminals, and perhaps other malign actors are flagged earlier and caught quicker? Can we create a safer society where terrorism and crime decline?
Ideally, yes, and we always relied on technology to counter terrorism and other threats to the civilized society. But again, this is not the one-sided game, because the opposite side also uses some forms of intelligent machines to create these problems. But we should move in this direction, and I understand that there is always a balance, between the privacy and security. That's a big issue, and working with Avast for almost 5 years, I've been delivering many speeches and wrote many blogs and articles on this very, very delicate balance. But I think there's no other way to offer protection people expect from the governments, from the tech corporations, from intelligence services, because it's like a genie out of the bottle. All the talks that we know, how can we minimize the effect of information being collected, is just these talks are futile. What we can do is just to guarantee that the information that is being collected about individuals will be used most effectively and without least damage to the good citizens. I emphasize least damage because there's no way we can avoid this information sometimes being misused. But those are the rules of the game. Trying to pretend that you can bring more regulations like GDPR and to guarantee that everything will go smoothly is just ignoring the reality.
All right, Mr. Kasparov, thank you very much, and please stay with us. We will come back to you soon. All right, moving on now to IAI ELTA Systems, a group and subsidiary of Israel Aerospace Industries, one of Israel's leading defense and technology companies. Before we hear more, let's first watch a short presentation. Mr. Yair Maor is the Vice President of Marketing and Business Development at IAI ELTA Systems. He is a seasoned executive with over 20 years of experience in the Israeli high-tech industry in sales and marketing. He heads the company's global sales and marketing with sales over $1.5 billion in 2020. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Lauren.
Of course.
For hosting me.
Sure.
My pleasure.
So please start by telling us a little bit about IAI ELTA Systems and what makes it so unique.
Right. So first and foremost, the Israeli Aerospace Industries, IAI, is our mother company. ELTA is one of those 4 divisions of IAI. And as we saw, we are doing about $1.5 billion a year with significant growth year over year. IAI is basically the largest defense company in Israel, fully owned by the Israeli government. We are also fully owned by IAI. And we are basically the radar house of the Israeli Defense Force, as well as many other forces worldwide. What makes us so unique, and this is basically the differentiator, is that our systems are not only being tested in the lab, they are actually field-proven in a field combat environment and are being exercised as we speak on a daily basis, because the radar, for instance, is the basic, the essential basis of very prestigious projects that I'm sure everyone is aware of. For instance, the Barak 8 air defense system, Aero air defense system, Iron Dome radar is basically ELTA radar. So we are being tested and on alert on an everyday.
So how can IAI ELTA contribute its technology, its knowledge, and its experience to European countries?
Right. So I believe that the COVID-19 pandemic has probably accelerated the trend that we see worldwide, and especially in Europe, where the local industries are becoming much more important. And we, in our DNA, we understand that we need to provide work to the local industries. So what we do is that we do technology transfer, we do work share. This is part of what we have done many years, and now we are even increasing this trend to make sure that the local industries are benefiting from our knowledge, our experience, and our methodology.
And how is IAI ELTA developing their products to, contend against threats in the future?
Right. So I believe innovation is key. We have heard Mr. Kasparov talking a lot about AI,
right.
Artificial intelligence. This is something that we are embedding and we are developing within our systems. In fact, what we do is that we are developing everything in-house. We start from the smallest component of the system, like the integrated chipset. We have our own fabs embedded in our factory. In fact, we have 2 fabs. So from the smallest component and up to the system of system level. I'm not sure if everyone knows, but we are also doing, you saw it in the movie, we are doing a full special mission aircraft. So from the radar, the element, and up to a whole system. And with that, we are always ahead of the evolving challenges and including the best cutting technology there is out there. And
Yair, what does IAI ELTA offer in the HLS and in the cyber sectors?
Right. So Homeland Security is a major domain for us. And of course, we bring from the defense experience our methodology, our experience to this domain. We are applying autonomous vehicles, robotics, artificial intelligence, big data to fuse all the information that we receive from the sensors. We are not relying only on single sensor, like for instance, electro-optic camera or video surveillance. We are doing multi-sensor, multi-layer technology all together to come up with a holistic approach and a turnkey solution for Homeland Security. In the cyber domain, we are actually the leader of the Israeli consortium of companies. We have formed an accelerator and incubator within ELTA to basically invite the high-tech industries to contribute to our mutual solution. And with that, we come to the market and provide a national level solution for cyber. Again, Mr. Kasparov talked about the bad guys. Now bad guys are actually could be states that are attacking on the cyber domain, right. Even superpower. So for such a threat, you need to come up with a national level solution, which ELTA is leading.
Interesting. Yair, Maor, thank you very much for joining me today. All right, moving on now to David Rokach, who is managing partner at SOSA HLSTECH Innovation Hub, where he brings over 30 years of experience in the field of HLS and defense technology. SOSA HLSTECH is dedicated to bridging the relationship between homeland security and defense industry leaders with cutting-edge cross-vertical solutions, placing the weight on functionality, compliance, and economical sustainability, as well as a program of mentors for startups. Thank you so much for joining me today, David.
Thank you, Lauren.
So you are a veteran of the HLS field, of course. Tell us a little bit about Israeli defense innovations and the business opportunities they generate.
So let's start with the baseline that unfortunately Israel is the best operational lab in the world. Because unfortunately, yeah, as we see in the news every day. So from this fact, we see that we have a unique solution for any kind of attack that we are suffering in Israel. And from this baseline, there are two main opportunities. From the business point of view for corporates, to engage with the Israeli startup with a cutting-edge technology that they will help these corporates to keep their superiority in the field of defense and homeland security. And when we are talking about government organization, is to close very fast the gap. In the past, I was the head of the R&D and procurement of the Israeli army. And when you have a problem, you need to close it very fast. So the Israeli innovation is a baseline to do it.
Great, David. We will come back to you soon. Thank you very much for that. All right, now it's time to go back to Garry Kasparov. Are you still with us, sir?
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Okay, so I want to talk about bias. Can algorithms really be impartial? And will certain groups see their liberties restricted because of AI?
Look, it brings me back to the point that I made already about centering the humans. Because algorithms just don't do things on their own. There's certain elements of interference. And I would separate the bias in two categories, at least in two categories. One is I would say it's a business model employed by the company, like Facebook, like YouTube. And these algorithms, they push you in one direction or another because of the business interest of those who were in charge of creating these algorithms. But people are more concerned about the other type of bias. They say, it could be a racial bias, it could be a gender bias, it could be whatever, religious bias. The problem with this kind of bias is that if we're talking about really intelligent machines, we should understand that these machines are always looking at data and at patterns. And if the pattern is just, clearly showing an advantage for one group, whether it's a racial group, a gender group, a religious group, machine doesn't differentiate. It simply looks at these numbers as a superior factor in its calculations. So I think that it's very dangerous for us to start making these corrections, because its machine will always look for data from the past to come up with its own, call it, vision of the world. So I always say that the AI, a truly intelligent machine, is some kind of a mirror. It's a reflection of our society. It's a reflection of who we are. And instead of trying to distort the mirror and just to like the picture we see there, we probably should look inside and understand that certain things are inevitable, and we should gradually try to improve the situation by balancing it, but not by direct interference and saying, oh, if machine is tilting in one side because of the data and patterns, we have to bring people, to correct it, because people that will bring in, they will have other biases. And I still think that the most reliable factor is the impartiality of the machine. So we just have gradually, add new data to this pool to make sure that machine will start, balancing its view of the world.
Well, as we saw recently, for example, during the COVID crisis, there is a clash between emergency powers and individual rights. Even in regular times, there is an inherent tension that exists between the exercise of personal freedoms and rights. As someone who is an outspoken advocate for human rights and civil liberties, I'd like to get your view on that situation.
Oh, as I already said, if the data is being produced, it will be collected. So there's no way you can avoid it. And my experience of working in this field, it just tells me that people always, at least before pandemics, but even today, they always, prefer convenience over security. It sounds like a bad joke, but the most popular password before the pandemics was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the second most popular one was from 1 to 9. So it's quite amazing to understand, the complacency of people who have been dealing with something so vital as their data. I have been talking all the time about what I call a digital hygiene. People know that we have to wash hands, especially now in the pandemics. We have to brush our teeth, but they just don't recognize that they need, just to follow the protocol, these elementary precautions to protect their data. So it seems that now the awareness is there, and people recognize that many things can be avoided if they don't that just make stupid mistakes by opening the attachments or just following the very suspicious links. To find the long-term solution, we should understand that this is not an elementary problem. This is not just a linear equation. It has three key elements of this hurdle, of this conundrum. It's about the government, of course. It's about big tech corporations, but it's about the public. And all these three elements of this triangle, they are connected because the public, it serves both as consumers for big tech, but also as voters for the government. And my concern is that the public is yet to understand that the government needs to find most effective ways of cooperating within this triangle. It's not as simply say government can, just make all the decisions instead of Twitter or Facebook. It could be just different kind of power abuse. But recognizing that, at the end of the day, it's all about the individual customer. And I wish we had more time just to go over this, different solutions that could be offered. But it's very important to put an individual, a good citizen, a law-abiding citizen in the center of this conversation.
All right, Garry Kasparov, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
BLUEBIRD Aero Systems is a dominant player in the tactical unmanned aerial systems industry. They specialize in the design, development, and production of mini and tactical UASs and deliver exceptional, unprecedented HTOL and VTOL. field-proven solutions to meet the challenges of the military, HLS, and civilian UAS markets. Before we talk to Ronen Nadir, founder and CEO of BLUEBIRD Aero Systems, let's watch a short video.
To go higher and further, to achieve more, to go above and beyond. That's your challenge and our mission. With unique VTOL UAS solutions from BLUEBIRD Aero Systems. Think vertically, act differently. BLUEBIRD's hybrid fixed-wing VTOL UAS combines the benefits of a multi-copter with the advantages of a fixed-wing UAS. Unrivaled performance, reliability, redundant systems, and unique features set BLUEBIRD VTOLs apart. They're designed for easy transport and rapid deployment, anywhere, anytime. Operated by a two-man crew with no need for a prepared area. All BLUEBIRD UASs operate from an advanced, intuitive ground control station. High-performance single, dual, and triple sensor high-end video and photogrammetric payloads ensure high-level target detection, recognition, and identification, with real-time data fed to frontline remote video terminals. Automatic pinpoint vertical takeoff and landing result in reduced vulnerability, rapid turnaround, and lower lifecycle costs. BLUEBIRD VTOL systems join its superior field-proven UAS solutions to meet the challenges of the homeland security, defense, and civilian markets. All BLUEBIRD UASs feature high-performance sensors, comms, and software algorithms for diverse missions, with low acoustic, visual, thermal, and radar cross-sections for covert operations. All these attributes set BLUEBIRD VTOLs apart, ready to take on new challenges, including emerging maritime applications. Pinpoint vertical takeoff and landing, minimal footprint, and vessel modifications vastly expand the possibilities for UAS-based intelligence gathering. Spiral development keeps BLUEBIRD moving forward and upward, ready for today's challenges and tomorrow's. Achieve your objectives with VTOL from BLUEBIRD Aero Systems, part of the IAI family. Think vertically. A new dawn for tactical UAS.
Ronen Nadir now joins me in studio. Thank you so much, Ronen, for being with me today.
Appreciate it.
So what is the main role of UAVs in the HLS arena?
Well, HLS is all about protection of the borders, protection of the homeland, and keeping the homeland safe and secure, usually against terrorism or other threats. A good protection starts with a good and efficient tactical information gathering, and that's exactly the main role of UAVs in the HLS. A few examples can be seen on the screen, like border protection, mainly against terrorism, terrorists breaching the borders, against smugglers, maritime application against smugglings or illegal immigrants, search and rescue, assisting first responders in their missions, law enforcement with a new dimension of view from above, and other type of applications.
And what type of UAVs specifically are most suitable for homeland security applications?
Well, first responders usually need their full independency when executing their mission. Full independency means affordable systems, mean high transportable systems that are available on site in real time. The system should be very easy to use. Therefore, tactical UAVs are the best fit for HLS applications. With VTOL technology, it is easy and possible to take off and land everywhere, even in confined area, anytime, anywhere, which means from a parking lot, taking off from a gas station, or in the middle of the road. So tactical UAVs are the best fit.
Interesting. And what are the main benefits of, fixed-wing VTOL UAVs over standard UAVs and multicopters?
Well, VTOL UAVs combine the best advantages of either the fixed-wing UAVs and a multicopter. For example, fixed-wing UAVs can fly longer time. They can fly faster speed, penetrating the wind. They can cover larger area, or in case of an emergency, battery emergency or engine emergency, they can glide to a safe location. The advantages of the multicopter are the ability to take off and land anywhere, very accurately land, for example, in a roof of a building, landing free of damages. And the VTOL combines the advantages of two, giving the HLS first responders actually all they need to operate the UAV anywhere and have their eye in the sky on the event in real time, giving situation awareness.
Ronen, what are the main benefits of BlueBird's VTOL UAV family?
BlueBird provides a family of UAV, like you said, the mini Wonder Bee UAV, which is an electric, we call it a hybrid UAV because it takes off vertically and fly horizontally. We provide a Thunder Bee VTOL, which is a dual hybrid. It takes off electronically with a VTOL system, but flies power with a gasoline, which enables it to fly more than 10 hours of endurance. In the last year, we have delivered almost 200 UAVs to a variety of customers around the world. The high quantity and a variety of customers allow us to provide extra capabilities since each customer requires different type of capabilities. It allows us to reduce the cost of the system so we can sell in a lower and more attractive and competitive cost. It allowed us to provide better matured system and with a variety of customers to increase the power of our real-time support to our customers. All in all, our VTOL advantages, we describe it as the 4S. 4S's, superior capabilities in each of our UAVs. Smart, having a mission computer that can supply independent capabilities or autonomous capabilities to the UAV in case of different scenarios. Small for higher availability and easy transportability to deliver the missions. And of course, simple with an ease of use system.
Right, Ronen, Nadir, thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, joining us now via Zoom is Milko, Berner, Bulgaria's Deputy Minister of Interior. Mr. Berner served with the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons and has held various positions at the Bulgarian Ministry of Defense and in the General Staff of the Bulgarian Armed Forces. He holds the award for Valiant Service from 2002 and the OPCW Nobel Peace Prize certificate recognizing personal contribution to the organization. The EU, as a single travel zone, faces significant challenges regarding migration and border security that require better use of the opportunities offered by information systems and technologies, in particular interoperability, the ability of information systems to talk to each other. Thank you very much, sir, for joining me today.
Thank you very much, madam.
So what is being done at the national level in Bulgaria and on the wider EU level to improve these systems, and what opportunities does the need for upgraded information systems present to Israeli data technology companies?
Once again, thank you very much, madam, for giving me the floor. On behalf of the leadership of the Ministry of Interior, I would like to wish this forum full success. And also, I would like to highlight the very good cooperation that we have with the State of Israel in the area of homeland security. Well, on the topic, as you know, the geographical location of Bulgaria makes us crossroad between Europe and Asia. Therefore, as EU member, our key priority is priority is European security and more specifically border security. We are responsible actually for one of the most sensitive, most vulnerable borders of European Union, this one with Republic of Turkey. In this context, when back in 2013, the first wave of migrants reached our country, practically in a few days, the attempts to cross the border illegally increased several times. We had to quickly adjust ourselves and take immediate measures to strengthen the border security. Well, our first priority, our first step was to construct a technical facility along the border, starting from the most vulnerable, most sensitive part with length of approximately 30 kilometers. As a result, the illegal crossings have significantly decreased. And we continue with equipping with this facility entire length of our border with length approximately a bit more than 240 kilometers. Project which we managed to finish only in 2016. Along with this, we had invested significant funds in enhancing the integrated border management at our land, sea, and air borders, as well as to improve the technical equipment of our borders. An integrated surveillance system has been set up along the Bulgarian-Turkish border. It has been expanded to monitor the areas that are not covered by perimeter alarm and security systems. Thermal imaging cameras, portable surveillance systems, remotely controlled drones, night vision devices, mobile and stationary was also utilized on the border. The air component includes helicopters, which allow the border police to monitor large areas along the state borders. In addition, an integrated blue border surveillance system has been also set up during the time. We also put a great importance to one of the major and most ambitious project at EU level in the area of common security, the so-called interoperability project. It comes without saying that interoperability at EU level will allow all law enforcement officers on the front line to have quick access to reliable, detailed and up-to-the-date information, which will allow law enforcement officers to perform their mission on time and effectively. No doubt this will lead to higher efficiency, as I said, in the fight against organized crime, even counterterrorism, and to prevent illegal migration, which is a serious problem nowadays. While working on this ambitious project, we are facing, of course, several challenges. Actually, it's a broad spectrum of challenges that we are facing. We have to introduce all these new systems at all types of external borders. I mean, land borders, sea borders, air borders, even river borders, which require massive reconstruction at practically all border checkpoints. Besides this, work is currently ongoing regarding the update of the automated information system at the Ministry of Interior, which will give us new capabilities. So, if you allow me, as a conclusion, I can say that we are consistently working on the full and timely implementation of our commitments, despite the massive challenges that we are facing. And we are really committed to finalize the work on time and with required precision. Thank you.
Mr. Berner, can you tell us about the fight to prevent cybercrimes in Bulgaria?
Yeah, well, as you can see, nowadays more and more public activities and services are transferred to the digital world due to the massive spread of the information and communication technologies. As a result, at the same time, there is a natural transfer, natural shift of interest of the organized crime towards subjects and objects in cybercrime. Cybercrime actually has become over the last decade, especially an ever-growing crime area, both in terms and caseload and criminal damages. It is also a topic which gained new significance even in the context of COVID-19 pandemic. We detect several attempts to use this unfortunate situation, global unfortunate situation, to gain some profit using information and communication technologies. In the past months, we have been witnessing a significant decrease in we detected a significant decrease in conventional crime, but in the same time, the criminal activities in the cyberspace become more and more significant, more scaled. Without any doubt, ensuring a cybersecurity has turned into a central challenge for the state, for the businesses, for social, in general, for the society, both on national and international level. In this context, the current priority of the ministry is to ensure a safer internet area, monitoring of the new risks and threats, prevention of cyber attacks and financial crimes in the internet space. In terms of prevention, we focus our efforts especially on young and vulnerable people. Our cyber police officers have very good cooperation with schools and plenty of NGOs and providing up-to-the-date information and awareness raising. We also have a special website. I advise you to visit it, that provides information about cyber dangers such as fraud, illegal threat, child exploitation, stealing of personal data, and so on. The website is called cybercrime.bg. Information is provided in Bulgarian and English. So we have really good practices in preventing cybercrime here in Bulgaria.
Sir, how deep would you say is the cooperation with Israel on issues of HLS, among them cybercrime, of course? And again, what opportunities are there for Israeli technology companies inside of this field?
Well, in recent years, the law enforcement agencies of Bulgaria and Israel have developed dynamic and really result-oriented, result-focused cooperation. For example, since 2013, we have been organizing annual meetings of bilateral working groups where we are discussing and planning concrete measures in fight against cybercrime, countering financial crimes, fire safety and civil protection, forensics, and many others. The exchange of good practices is also very important, and I hope that Israeli presenters today will share their experience and useful information that could help deepen our dialogue on the new security challenges. I would like also to emphasize that the equipment and the technologies of the Ministry of Interior are provided through public procurement procedures, and depending on the analysis of the need of the different structures of the ministry. Up-to-date information on current public procurement procedures and plant activities can be found on the website of the Ministry of Interior. Information is provided also in English. So there are plenty of opportunities to cooperate. And of course, I remain at your disposal for any further comments and questions.
Wonderful. Milko, Berner, thank you so much for joining us all the way from Bulgaria. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Moving on now to MAGAL Security, a leading international provider of turnkey HLS solutions for borders, seaports, airports, oil and gas, and critical infrastructure. For over 50 years, MAGAL has been analyzing, designing, managing, and maintaining some of the most complex and interconnected security systems in the world. First, let's watch a short video presentation.
Good morning. What's our current status?
Good morning. There are 25 vessels in line pending port entrance, 9 vessels being discharged, 26 cranes are operational, 1 crane under maintenance, 2,471 employees on site, 73 trucks in line. Average time in the port is 18 minutes.
There is a significant weight mismatch for one of the containers on crane 9. Sir, there is a Severity 1 incident with an MSDS container.
What's the location of the incident? Initiate the MSDS procedure.
Area D, evacuating the area. Dispatching the MSDS and response teams. Good job, X-Team.
Arnon Bram is the general manager of MAGAL's Integrated Solutions Division, part of MAGAL Security Systems Group. He will talk to us about the synergy of HLS and operational solutions, as well as technologies in strategic infrastructure during the COVID-19 era. Thank you so much for joining me today.
It's a pleasure.
So please tell us about the conflicts between security measures and operations in seaports, airports, and of course, other strategic sites like these.
So first of all, a few words about MAGAL. MAGAL Security Systems has vast experience in HLS technologies, products, sensors, and providing turnkey solutions all over the world in some of the key verticals in the HLS market: borders, seaports, airports, oil and gas. We have a unique position in the sense that from one hand, we are an OEM. So we manufacture sensors, technology, products, and on the other hand, we are a system integrator, which means we are in direct contact with our customer on continuous basis, understanding their issues, their problems, and trying to implement them into our systems. Coming back to your question, there is a built-in tension between security and operations. From one hand, security, you need to protect those sites from terror, from theft, from vandalism, from any other threat. They need to comply with international regulation, ISPS code for seaports, ICAO for airports. They need to put security measures. On the other hand, they need to be efficient. Seaports needs a container in and out as fast as possible. Airports needs free flow of people, vehicles, cargo, airplanes. The short clip that you've just seen is the new platform from MAGAL called FortisX, derivative for seaports. We have for any other vertical that exactly intend to mitigate this gap. Unifying all of those security measures in an accessible way and connecting to all of the operational systems of those strategic sites will enable this efficiency from one hand and complying with the regulation and security measures in one hand. Just a short example, when a truck comes to a seaport, it automatically being tested, screened with all of the security measures and connected to the operation. So the drivers know exactly where he needs to go to load or to unload. When in the seaport, the system tracks it and verify that there are no hazards, no security issues, no safety issues, no hazard materials in order to make the seaport work efficiently. And that's the gap that we're trying to mitigate.
Interesting. And what impact has COVID-19 had on seaports and airports?
Well, COVID-19 is being talked a lot in this, convention. The gap that I was just referring to has just increased.
Right.
So the COVID-19 actually imposes on those sites additional measures. They need to know if the people in are tested, are vaccinated. They want to avoid unnecessary crowding. They want to make sure that whoever enters to the site goes exactly where he needs to be and nothing more. On the other end, it's an economical crisis. All of those sites need to lower their operational cost. How do you mitigate between those two things? Unifying everything, existing sensors and platform into those type of platforms like the FortisX is exactly what needs to be done in order to put the security measures and of all of those extended measures to protect the site to being, taking the COVID-19 out of the site as much as possible. And on the other hand, to lowering the cost, the operational cost.
Can you talk to us about new security challenges versus innovation in security solutions?
We're constantly working on R&D and evolving the technologies in-house and outside. I'm just looking at the participant in this convention, and it's amazing. But technology cannot work in silos. It needs to be interconnected, and it needs to be accessible to the user. I'll give you just a few examples. Drones. Everyone is talking about drones. Everyone needs to use drones. If a site is using a drone for security, video surveillance, rapid deployment, these type of things, use it for safety. Use it for preventive maintenance in order to reduce the operational costs. I'll give you the opposite example. Drones, being that accessible, are a threat. People are using them to video surveillance, but they can use it to terror. We hear about it in the news all over the time. So those sites need a cost-effective solution to do anti-drone as well. Again, accessible in the way that the operator wants it and needs it. And as a last example, hardware. You need to utilize the existing hardware in order to reduce the operational cost. All of those sites have CCTVs. Put a layer of analytics, of artificial intelligence, in order to utilize the information that are currently being delivered from the sensor, real-time or recorder, to make it accessible to the user, whether it's a security officer whether it's an operational, whether it's a safety guide, sitting on the same platform, but making it accessible. That's exactly what we do in MAGAL, using this type of platform like the 46.
All right, Arnon, Bram, thank you so much for joining me today.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
All right, we will be joined in studio shortly by Ram Ben-Barak, We will be right with him. Thank you very much for joining us today. Before we get back to our panel, joining us now via video link is Rosen Plevneliev, former president of Bulgaria and a member of the Improvate Advisory Board. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. It is a great pleasure to have you with us again.
It's a great pleasure for me to be with you. It's very easy to say that we all love Improvate. Bulgaria loves Israel. We are so close together. We are strategic partners. There is so much going on between the two countries. And Improvate is really an amazing platform that brings us even closer together.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. We will come back to you very shortly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure. Our next guest is member of Knesset, Ram Ben-Barak. He has served as Deputy Director of the Mossad, the Director General of the Ministry of Intelligence, and the Ministry of Strategic Affairs. He's been a member of Knesset for Yesh Atid since April 2019. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us.
Pleasure.
So we heard from Garry Kasparov about how AI can play a role in homeland security. How disruptive is technology in the world of spycraft?
Technology can help you, and it can get in your way. So it depends how it's used. So this
יש מצלמות בכל מקום, מזהים פנים בכל מקום, אי אפשר להחליף זהויות. קשה מאוד היום להתנועע בעולם הריגול הקלאסי כמו שאנחנו מכירים אותו.
Was havoc in this world. But on the other hand, today is that we have in the past. We can reach very many places, not in the way that we could reach them in the past. Not physically, but from afar. If your imagination is more developed, then you can control systems. You can exploit enemy systems for your own benefit for many purposes. So technology, espionage, didn't exist.
So, as intelligence becomes more and more reliant on technology, do closed societies have an advantage over Western societies where agencies often face, legal constraints?
It's true that on the face of it, more developed countries are with technology than open countries, but that's not accurate. Because nowadays, if you're not open to the world, then you stay behind. Therefore, even closed countries require contact with the world. They can't succeed. They can't not use Western systems. And so the legal question, of course, depends on whether you place these legal restrictions on yourself. If you're working against enemy states, then there are no. But if you're operating within, then obviously, yes, there are. And obviously this imposes difficulties. It makes us more vulnerable to attacks, but the opportunities exist. And in general, the greatness of espionage is the ability to integrate all the disciplines, cyber on the one hand, and special operations, everything together, enables, as we hear from time to time in the media, to get to places that are very difficult to reach.
Well, as we've seen in several cases involving Israeli companies, the boundaries between private sector and state intelligence services are becoming blurred. What opportunities does this present for a country like Israel with a steady flow of ex-agents into the private sector, and what dangers does it possibly pose?
On the one hand, in Israel, there is a lot of knowledge among people who leave the system in the cyber world and the espionage world, which has enabled them to open up their own civilian espionage agencies, really very successful ones, and bring a lot of income to very many vets. The danger in this matter is that really to see that you are on the legal and correct side and moral side of the system and don't get tempted to go to the dark side where there is a lot. fall in that trap, and they have to find the balance. And of course, there are secrets that the Israeli intelligence system has not to reveal them. It's definitely an interesting question, and we need to see how to find the right balance and manage that properly.
All right, Ben-Barak, thank you very much for joining me today. Now, David, I want to bring you back into the conversation. How are you doing over there for the time being? All right, so how do you, David, see the issue of security challenges versus innovations?
So I think the main thing that we see in the last few years that terror organizations can adapt innovation faster than us. It's based on that we have a lot of bureaucracy, we have a lot of regulations, and for example, a regular terror organization can adapt a drone that is a toy and can transfer it to be something like a missile. So this become a real challenge for us. 2 weeks ago, DJI established a new product. It's a drone that's flying very, very fast like a missile. So the gap between a toy drone and a missile is now very, very small.
Interesting, David. Thank you very much. And everyone, please stay with us. We will be right back after this. Infinidome, the GPS security company, develops GPS protection solutions tailored to defend drones and other unmanned systems, vehicle fleets, and other defense applications from GPS jamming. With us now is Omer Sharar, co-founder and CEO of Infinidome. He brings extensive knowledge and experience in GPS and atomic clocks and has provided tailored solutions for critical commercial and military customers worldwide. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much, Ronen.
So, Omer, why is GPS so critical to drones?
Well, I'll start off by saying that the Department of Homeland Security in the United States had defined 16 sectors as critical to the U.S. economy and has identified 13 of those sectors to be critically dependent on GPS. Now, if there's one good thing that this terrible COVID pandemic caused us is to think what manned operations could be turned to unmanned, specifically by drones. Some of those applications, for example, are border security, reconnaissance, critical infrastructure monitoring, and even cargo delivery. Now, for drones to be able to do that, what they actually have to do is to perform something called beyond visual line of sight operations or even autonomous operations. And for those flight modes to be enabled, they require GPS because GPS is not only required for drones to get from point A to point B, but actually is required to stabilize and literally stay in the air.
So why should anyone care about their GPS being jammed?
So, I mean, if it's okay, I'll start by explaining to the viewers a little bit something about GPS. So,
absolutely.
This is a signal that is emitted from satellites revolving the Earth 20,000 kilometers above the face of the Earth. Now, the energy that is received here on Earth is about as powerful as the energy received from a 20-watt light bulb lit up in Berlin and received here in Tel Aviv. So it's very, very susceptible to jamming. Now, today you can go online and buy a GPS jammer for as low as $50. And this $50 jammer can affect and disable GPS systems from as far as hundreds of meters away. Wow. Now, specifically in regards to drones, they are using GPS, as I said before, for critical applications. And the easiest way to take down a drone is to jam its GPS. Now, the European Union identified this as a threat. And in 2018, they assembled a task force called Strike 3. And what they did is basically deploy about 40 stations across Europe to understand how big of a problem this is. And they actually detected over 60,000 high-powered GPS jamming incidences all over Europe over a course of a year. And since then, the situation has only gotten worse. And as you can see on the article that is displayed right now, is that actually about 6 months ago, a high-end industrial drone has been taken down by a GPS jammer in the UK. And this is just one example. Today, the biggest threat to drones is GPS jamming.
So how is Infinido mitigating that, and how is it different from other solutions that are offering the same kind of thing?
Well, I mean, it's not a new problem to the military industries out there. And this problem has been known for a few decades now. And there are fantastic military solutions out there made by military companies for military applications. The problem is that these solutions are about the size of a small VCR, very heavy, and very expensive, ranging from $20,000 to $100,000 pieces, to $1,000 a unit. What we did at Infinidome is try to think this problem bottom up and think how we can apply the same electronic warfare principles on a much smaller form factor. And what we did is we came up with a patented architecture that allows us to deploy the same kind of principles, but on a much smaller box, making it a lot more applicable to these kinds of applications. Now, right now we're very focused on delivering two major projects, one to the one of the Israeli defense contractors, and one to a very large US government entity. And together with our fantastic investors and partners, Next Gear Ventures and Honeywell Aerospace, we actually intend to bring the same kind of protection level to any kind of critical GNSS GPS application out there.
Omer, thank you very much for joining us today, and best of luck.
Thank you very much, Lorraine.
All right, let's go back to you, President Plevneliev. How are you hanging in there?
Wonderful. I'm enjoying it very much. I'm learning so much.
Wonderful.
And
I am as well.
It is such a positive energy. You're smiling. You're so professional. And everybody that participates in Improvate conferences is really doing something extraordinary. It's bringing solution. We are also confused today about whatever you can imagine, about the economy, about the virus. And anytime I participate in Improvate conference, it's like getting clear. We have solutions. And it's very, very, very positive. Speaking about Improvate, of course, it's not just that Israel or Bulgaria, the whole Southeast Europe is listening very carefully, participating, and beyond Southeast Europe, Africa, Europe, Improvate is global. The solutions are global too. So very happy to be with you today again.
Wonderful, sir. And I just have one question for you. How do you see Western countries coming together to boost their cybersecurity in the face of threats by authoritarian regimes?
Well, it's really a great question. I was a Supreme Commander of a NATO member state. I remember as we debate with all the NATO member state countries in Wales in 2014 and in Warsaw in 2016, the high-level summit of NATO, the strongest defense union on earth, we were so shocked as we started explaining to each other what's going on. If just look at Bulgaria, for example, in those years, in 2012, there was a terrorist attack on a Bulgarian airport. And if you look at the terrorist, a suicide bomber, he looked like a rock star, blonde with blue eyes, with 1.90 m. Who would even imagine that such a guy who probably could be born in Sweden or in Germany could be a suicide bomber? This is how terrorism evolves in unbelievable, very dangerous way. We were shocked, and the result was 7 deaths. But also the result in Bulgaria was Bulgaria and Israel, because it was Israeli tourists in a bus that were attacked by a suicide bomber. We came together stronger, closer. We found those who perpetrated. We found those who initiated that brutal murder. And we together became extremely more efficient. As a result of that, today we have twice more Israeli tourists in Bulgaria as we had in 2012. I saw Russia attacking the Bulgarian democracy and with the biggest cyber attack in Southeast Europe on a day of elections that was about to bring down the whole electoral commission and the whole communication of electoral commission from a national to regional level. I saw, for example, the websites of German members of parliament being stolen by cyber terrorists. I saw how, for example, even election campaign in France or election campaign in the United States has been violated in an undemocratic way. Mails have been stolen from Hillary Clinton to President Macron in order to use internal information, and that was totally unacceptable. So it's not just our economies, our democracies are in danger. And you see autocratic regimes coming together, believing that they're more efficient than we are, just because they have a central point of taking decisions and everybody else has just to implement them. The very truth is the opposite. Autocratic regimes are getting stronger, but we are much more stronger too. But the only way for us to counter those attacks, they're against our lives, against our democracies, against our institutions, is only to come together, the Western countries, the democratic countries, to come together, share information, share institutions, share technological solutions, come together, use the best technology available. And I'm inviting Israeli companies, as we learned from this very heavy attack on the airport in Sarajevo, which has 4 million tourists a year. Now we gave it to Frankfurt Airport, decreasing all the arrangements in Israeli companies are there. Also, we are now having, for example, very proud to give our biggest airport, the Sofia Airport, to the Airport Munich. And actually, Airport Munich is cooperating with a lot of Israeli companies, and those solutions are now welcome. They're coming also to my country, as there will be an investment of $700 million just in this airport to increase whatever efficiency, security, and of course, a new terminal is going to be built. A new infrastructural project and products are coming, and we are very happy to welcome Israeli technologies and companies here on the ground.
Mr. President, thank you very much, and please stay with us. We will come back to you again. Joining us now is Sharon Aloni, VP of R&D at SmartShooter, a world-class designer, developer, and manufacturer of innovative fire control systems that significantly increase the accuracy and lethality of small arms. Let's take a look.
Today's combat scenarios are highly complex, diverse, and dynamic.
And first-round accuracy can dramatically shift the outcome of any engagement.
Despite the increasingly advanced technologies being packed into other modern weapon systems, small arms technology has pretty much stayed the same. Not anymore. SmartShooter introduces Smash. One shot, one hit. Now, they're a standard infantry squad, not a sniper team. And this is not a sniper's rifle. Such first-shot accuracy is thanks to this little add-on that makes all the difference. Smash is operationally deployed, integrating unique targeting algorithms and the latest electro-optical technologies to ensure that your first round hits, whether the target is stationary or mobile. Smash overcomes key obstacles to a shooter's success. Smash increases accuracy and lethality. The Smash system is simple to install, easy to learn, and intuitive to use. This way forces them to quickly achieve excellent results. Extensive field tests put shooters through extreme physical exertion and definitively proved that Smash dramatically improves force-wide first-hit accuracy rates. Smash increases lethality and survivability, turning every shooter into a smart shooter. Smash can capture images, video, and data to aid in training and operational debriefing. Smash is an external add-on solution that can be fitted to most existing firearms shooting standard ammunition in a wide variety of conditions and scenarios. All this is thanks to the smart technology behind the Smash family. Smash enables tactical connectivity, the Smash family is customizable for the unit's entire armory. Its open architecture and advanced technology will assist in adding future needs,
SMASH, a game changer for all tactical forces. SMASH, one shot, one hit.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me here.
So what exactly, after we saw that video, what exactly does SmartShooter do?
So SmartShooter, it designs, develops, and manufactures innovative fire control systems, which highly increases the accuracy and lethality of small arms. What we do, first of all, the systems are already fielded and operational around the world. And we provide what we call a one-shot, one-hit capability, meaning in the battlefield today, you have a very, very limited time in which you can engage your target. Therefore, you have to be extremely accurate with this first shot. You have to make it count. And by this way, we think we are revolutionizing the world of small arms. First of all, SMASH is combat proven already today. We have a family of different systems. It's not only a single one, and it's designed to ensure that every round finds its target both day and night under all weather conditions. SMASH allows the operator to quickly engage the targets, whether it's static or on the move, whether it's a manned or unmanned system. And it is used in a wide variety of different applications, from defense, homeland security, and counter drones, as well as was mentioned many times today already.
So you've explained a lot about SMASH technology, but if you could elaborate just a little bit more on what makes it so unique and special.
Okay, so first of all, the system is based on highly sophisticated computer vision algorithms. That's the heart of the system. But you have to remember, we are dealing with a world which is very tough to deal with, the infantry soldier. So it has to be very small, very lightweight, very compact, but still be very complex. And all these algorithms, all this artificial intelligence that runs on the system has to be extremely robust in order to be able to provide the soldier what he needs. First of all, we can also we are an add-on to the rifle itself. We don't have to make any kind of change to the rifle, which is extremely good because there are a wide variety of different weapons around the world, and we can pretty much comply with any one of those. The use is extremely simple, very intuitive. It takes only like a couple of hours to make a soldier very proficient with the system. And it's also, we use what we call an open architecture. We can add different applications to the system. Sort of, you can compare it to sort of a smartphone where you can add different applications. For example, when the counter-drone element came into effect, which is a very high need today, it took us a very limited amount of time to add this capability to the system without having to change anything in the hardware itself. It was only algorithms and software to be added.
So tell us a little bit more specifically what SMASH products are used for and where in the world they are deployed right now.
Okay, so first of all, these systems are ideal for homeland security applications. You can use them for less lethal applications. If you want to target a certain area in the body, like the legs only, it extremely reduces the collateral damage. It's ideal today to counter drones. That's one of the major things that we do, and a lot of effect around the world. And it can also be integrated with other sensors, radars, electro-optical means, radio frequency elements that are used in the area. We are already deployed, first of all and foremost, in the Israeli Defense Forces. That's always our main priority and our first priority. And we are already deployed there and operational, as I mentioned. We were selected by the US Department of Defense. They had a new organization called the Joint Counter-UAS Office, and they examined a wide variety of different systems to counter drones. We were the only, what is called a hard kill solution, which was selected by the Department of Defense. And that is their recommendation for any future procurement in the US Army. We are also being used in India by the Indian Army. And basically, our vision is that each soldier in the friendly force will have a system like that. It will enable him to become much more effective, much more lethal, much more accurate, which is exactly what the current battlefield needs.
Fascinating. Sharon, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's bring you back into the conversation. David, how are you hanging in there?
Great.
Wonderful. So with technological changes coming at such a rapid pace, what are the challenges faced by international defense organizations and industries in general?
So I think in basic, the main issue is to keep operational superiority. The main fact is the technology accelerate very, very fast, and the organization and countries are a little bit slower, and there is a gap. And a company can, like SMARTSHOOTER, closing a gap that big corporates are not doing. This is a great example. And the second issue is that high quality manpower flows from the corporates to the startups. This is a big issue in the next 2 years, I think.
Interesting. David, thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right, before we move on to the second part of today's conference, remember, Improvate is about making practical changes, exposing Israeli tech innovators to governments, investors, and companies around the world to promote businesses whose goal is innovation and helping countries further their development. The exposure right here at this conference is a first step, followed up with delegations and real business connections. Joining us now in the studio is Nicholas Christodoulidis, head of the Economic and Commercial Affairs at the Embassy of Greece. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Greece and Israel have developed extensive security ties in recent years and have signed major defense and cyber deals. So, Nicholas, can you tell us a little bit more about the cooperation between Israel and Greece in homeland security sphere specifically?
Yes, sure. As you said, there have been many agreements and ties, and mainly government-to-government agreements. And one thing that springs to mind, and that you very possibly referring to, is there's a big agreement between the Ministry of Digital Governance in Greece and the Israel National Cyber Directorate. This is in order to provide a better civilian cyber domain and exchange practices and capacity building and information and experience. I mean, the goal is to, Israel National Cyber Directorate has been more or less asked to provide knowledge for us to organize a state cyber directorate. And this is something like building on an ecosystem that is still in the process of developing in Greece, and this is something that we need. As I said, these are government-to-government agreements. Nevertheless, having said that, there is also business-to-government, and the Greek government has been talking to individual businesses in Israel. The focus is on safeguarding national infrastructure and providing continuity for operational for government operation, and you have to build security, robustness, and resilience into the system. We know that cyber threats are extremely various today. I mean, there's an endless list. I mean, it could be spam and phishing. It could be ransom. It could be cyber espionage, identity theft, web application attacks. The point is, and perhaps I think a lot of people here know more than this about me. But the point is that you have to understand that one of the main challenges in cyber is attribution. You don't just realize that now we are under attack. It's not as easy as that. It's not like a missile falling. You have to realize that you're under attack, and then you have to have a response. And there is a lot of complexity in this response. And of course, we're not just talking about governments. We're also talking about the security of small and medium businesses and large businesses. So you need to have a forensics investigation and work with the national authorities on regulation. it takes time to restore the system to what it was before. And of course, these are things that you know here very well. And we are looking to partner, as I said, with Israel in attacking cyber threats.
All right, Nicholas, thank you. We will come back to you very shortly.
Sure.
Dr. George Sharkov is a consultant to the EU on cybersecurity. He holds a PhD in artificial intelligence, is an advisor to the Bulgarian Defense Ministry, and previously served as a national cybersecurity coordinator for the Bulgarian government. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting again. Thank you.
So in the digital age, modern societies are globally interconnected and increasingly dependent on IT systems and digital infrastructures. Is enough attention being paid at the national level in Europe to building cyber resilience, ensuring that organizations maintain cyber hygiene, and protecting critical national infrastructure? And how does the EU cybersecurity certification scheme fit into all of that?
Wow, that's a very complex question, actually. So I would not like to give a lecture full, but I'll make a short overview of that.
No problem.
Certainly, the aim is to achieve in the cyberspace, as the President Plevneliev said before, since 2016, we recognize that cyberspace is the fifth dimension or fifth domain that we live in. And now with the pandemic crisis, we live more and more in that domain, and we depend on that. So following that approach and that view, it's at the European level and as well at the NATO level and all the other alliances that we have in industrial and business, it's pretty clear that there are no borders, which means that the responsibility of the cybersecurity and resilience in a cyberspace, in a digital world, it's a collective responsibility, and it cannot be done on a separate business or a separate country. So therefore, the EU approach is to achieve the minimum level of cybersecurity from each member state, from each country, and that's why the first Network Information Security Directive, NIS Directive, was introduced 5 years ago. Now, the point is that we move from cybersecurity to resilience, and this is a very important concept, especially for the critical infrastructure, the way it is called, like essential entities or critical entities, and therefore there is evolution of that. These minimum requirements like cyber hygiene for different sectors have been established and already implemented by each member state, each country, but the point is to move to the collective resilience in the cyberspace, and therefore a new NIS2 directive is extended, is proposed in December last year. Together with the new directive, which is related to the resilience of critical entities or critical infrastructures. And there is a large list, in addition to transport, communication, where you have health, you have finances, and all the other of this. All people in the audience are aware of all the critical infrastructures from the new concept, like more than 14 sectors we depend on. And these resilience requirements are extension of the cybersecurity requirements, and they become mandatory by regulation for different sectors, what is called like essential entities, but also they become quite strongly recommended for all these important entities or other satellite digital dependent businesses. So this is on the recommendation or requirement side, and you mentioned that somehow you have to align this criteria and certify that or audit that in order to have the different suppliers of services in the digital space or products, cybersecurity or not only, and to have this alignment of the criteria and therefore objective certification of these products. And that's the new trend since Cybersecurity Act, like 2 years ago in force, but the establishment of the unified European cybersecurity certification schemes. And I'm also part of this group, which is coordinated by ENISA, the European Network Information Security or Cybersecurity Agency, as it is called now. And the point is really to align, to start with the cybersecurity certification schemes. And this is not only about the products or services organization providing this in Europe, but also everybody who is doing that in Europe, which means that all multinational companies that provide product services in Europe, they have to comply with these certification schemes requirements and to obtain such certificates. So we have the first two certification schemes almost adopted already on which is one of them is based on a common criteria ISO standard, but this is EU common criteria certification scheme, and another one is about the cloud-based services. So this will align the requirements, but also provide the international players good market share in Europe.
Dr. Sharkov, what about specific strategies and regulations with respect to artificial intelligence?
Well, AI is considered as one of the most disrupting new technologies. It's more than technology, actually. It's a methodology or the changer, the game changer in our digital life as well, which has been proven in again last year during this intensive life in a virtual space or during the pandemic crisis. And the same approach that there are a lot of facilitation. There are a lot of advantages of using AI, machine learning. So not to mention the chess game player with Garry Kasparov talking about that. Of course, starting with this, the first thing in our mind. But actually, last 5-6 years, a lot of applications that came in autonomous devices, natural language, image, vision, fake news as well, I mean, deep fakes and so on. All this proves the wide variety of implementations of AI, not only machine learning, that can facilitate our life and improve our life. However, there are a lot of threats around that, and I would mention them like in the three major directions. So you need to protect AI, and this is what we call shortly cyber for AI. But also AI is a good not only facilitator, but actually it's improving a lot, and it's a game changer in the cybersecurity industry to monitor the incidents and not only to eliminate the fake false positives and so on, but just to help counterfeiting or handling larger scale cyber incidents and crises. And the third one is, of course, to study the malicious use of AI. As we know, the bad guys are quite inventive. So here the vision is of European Union is to start with the risk-based approach. I was member of the group that we developed ethics guidelines on trustworthy AI, which means human-centric AI. And part of this is to assess the risks that are associated with the AI implementation in practice. And another consequence of that is that last year there was a white paper published on AI risk-based approach and implementation, and recently there was even a proposal of the legal framework of AI utilization, where you have the 4 levels of risks of using AI and respective measures to protect AI, to ensure the transparency, accountability, and so on. So this is the direction we go. On one hand, to stimulate innovation, but on the other hand, to be quite careful and cautious about the use and the risks associated with AI, and to provide the end user, the business, the industry, and especially the sectors that depend on the decisions provided by or suggested by AI, like defense, security, and so on, autonomous vehicles, and not to miss the healthcare. That has been proven. We have a lot of good examples coming from the Israeli companies implementing the optimization of resources, patient care, and so on. And we study that and we implement that as well. Thank you.
And as a consultant to the European Union, can you tell us about the cooperation between the EU and Israel on national cybersecurity issues?
Well, I think there is a large area of various areas of cooperation, of course. Now, I would put more like my cyber defense advisor hat, and I would mention a couple of areas of cooperation that go in the cybersecurity and cyber defense in Bulgaria and the region. So the most important, of course, is to address the new technologies challenges and implement them or how to use them in practice, not only for cybersecurity and defense, but also to counterfight the threats or to prepare for the threats coming. And therefore, the most intensive area, I would say, starts, of course, naturally from research and development. Israeli companies or organizations are quite active, and we have good partnerships with several organizations like Weizmann Institute or Blavatnik Cyber Research Center and many others and companies as well. On R&D programs, Horizon 2000 and now the new Horizon Europe programs. So this is the advanced part, but also cooperation and collaboration in public-private partnerships. So we learn a lot from the Israeli approach on that, talking not only about defense or cyber defense. Of course, my main contacts and the collaboration was with the CBAT, International Development Directorate of the Ministry of Defense, but in cooperation with the industry. Through that, we had a lot of collaboration with leading Israeli companies and solutions like ELTA that was presenting before, RSA, Rafael, Variant, and many other companies. What is fascinating for me is how this public-private partnership works for developing joint capacity, and especially what I call cyber reserve. And this transition from famous unit 8200 to the private companies like incubator of cybersecurity companies, that is something which is a very good model and that we need to learn and implement more. And of course, collaborating with that, a lot of Israeli companies are providing cyber ranges and other educational platforms for the universities in Bulgaria, building this capacity, which is a very high level exercises, and of course participating in the international events that are organized. Joint partnerships, and some Israeli companies, they do have branches, R&D and development implementation branches in Bulgaria and other European countries as far as I know, and very actively collaborating in improving the cyber defense in Europe.
Dr. George Sharkov, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Pleasure.
All right, let's move on now to Capture Systems, who specializes in design, development, and production of advanced modular multi-axle positioners that can be used for a wide range of fields and applications. Shahr Gal is the founder and CEO of Capture Systems. He's an engineer with unique skills providing engineering solutions to complex problems and is always looking to develop new solutions. Thank you so much, Shahr, for joining me.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
So, Shahr, can you explain to us a little about Capture Systems and what exactly the company does?
Okay. Capture is I will say this is a smart positioner that is ever built. The idea behind it was that I don't care about the load of the customer. If it's going to be a camera, it will be a radar, it will be a jammer. We don't care. We look at the opposite way. Let's do the smart positioner that everyone can use it. This is the idea of Capture.
Interesting. So how do you see the HLS market as a growth engine for Capture Systems?
HLS is a huge field. It's a vertical touching every field that you think of, land, sea, everywhere. And because of that, we designed it to work with every market. So no one can say that I don't have solution for what I need. They all the time come to us as a solution for them. If you need to install the cameras, you have the best engineers in the market to do the camera for them. If you need the radars, jammers, whatever you need, it's already prepared for them. This is the idea behind Capture.
So in what fields and systems specifically can we find your technology?
You have three fields that are basically the main. They have the sea, the air, and the land.
Sure.
All of them we are in. On the land, it's on the vehicles because all our systems are stabilized, and you can do the tracking as well. In the air, we do the same thing, stabilize, and we are really high accurate systems, so we can work on airplane and small drones. And on the field of sea, we are, I think, the best one ever that is coming today with the solution of smart stabilize. So we are not only stabilize the system, we're learning how is the waves going on, and we're changing the stabilize according to the sea that is not expectable.
And what makes your solutions stand out compared to other solutions on the market?
Oh, this is the huge thing. We add, it's not only the AI. AI, it's one solution because it's a software. But we took the best users in the market. on the military field and ask them what they need. And we learn from them what they really need. And then the solution arrived. This is the idea behind why we are the best one.
Wow. All right, Shahr Gal, thank you so much for coming in today. All right, David Rokach, let's bring the conversation back to you once again. Thank you for staying with us, of course. So what is the role SOSA HLSTECH plays in the ecosystem in general?
Okay, so we heard a lot today about the Israeli innovation, and in general, SOSA is a marketplace for the Israeli innovation. We're trying to bridge between Israel and the world, and if you want to be an innovation leader, you should come to us. When you are talking about defense and homeland security, we established the first ecosystem that all the partners are used. For example, our customers is the Israeli Secret Service, the Israeli MOD, Rafael, ELTA, as we saw before. And in the others, we bring the dual-use technology startups to the table. So it's a unique engagement between the younger, innovative people and the people with a lot of experience that can bring a huge solution to the table.
Right, okay, thank you for that, David.
Thank you.
Now let's bring Rosen Plevneliev back to the conversation. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So we just heard from Dr. Sharkov about EU-Israel cooperation on cyber. How do you see the business potential for Israeli cybersecurity companies in the EU at large, and specifically in Southeastern Europe?
We admire Israel and what you've done, and there is a magic word I heard now also from David, and the magic word for Israeli success is an ecosystem. Ecosystem. You have everybody in a mechanism of cooperation, government and private, big and small, young and old together, and that works and brings amazing results. European Union is making an ecosystem too, not as efficient as the one in Israel, and it's on two levels. On one side is the national ecosystems, and on the other side is the European Union as the biggest market and the biggest economic union in the world. Whatever you do in one of the countries automatically goes to all the other countries. If you open, the Israeli company opens an R&D center or a branch or a trading office, a representing office, or whatever it is in one of those 27 countries, automatically goes without no further costs to all of those countries. And that's very exciting about the European Union. The European Union is not as advanced as Israel and the United States today are, speaking about the good guys, not the autocratic regimes. And we need to cooperate. The European Union on building its ecosystem was too late. You saw it also in the pandemics, how the United States and Israel were much more faster and more efficient. And now you see it also in the area of cyber in all its aspects. Because of that, bringing the European ecosystem and the Israeli-American ecosystem together will actually help very much Israeli companies to feel home and do a lot as they do in the United States and globally. Bulgaria is a host to some of those projects. Greece is a wonderful country that is having a strategic partnership with Israel in a lot of special fields, but also Romania is very strong on that too. Speaking about Southeast Europe, we also have countries like Croatia, Slovenia, of course, Central Europe, countries like Poland and Hungary that are doing a lot. So my point is that Improvate is an amazing platform that will learn from each other a lot, but we will also come together. We will communicate and we will cooperate together. We will organize business meetings and business visits to all of those countries, meeting all the decision makers, from heads of state, ministers, to private sector, in order to make sure that these companies understand and efficiently operate in the vast European market.
All right, we will come back to you soon. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Auditect is an innovator in the video analytics world, enabling CCTV operators to monitor unlimited amounts of videos in real time, gaining actionable intelligence for real-time decision-making. Watch this.
Urban areas today produce vast amount of data from millions of field sensors and smart devices. Actual smart cities are only those which unify control centers with the endless information reaching one place. The biggest challenge is to make real-time information become real-time decisions. The largest and most important data, which comes from surveillance cameras, is almost entirely wasted and not acted upon properly. It's like there's a disconnection between the eyes and the brain, which prevents a more intelligent response to all reactions in the field. CoAg-TAD has the solution. A smart AI system which analyzes only the relevant information from the tons of accumulated data and sends an alert in real time without any human intervention and without any pre-ruled settings. In other words, we turn the camera into a smart sensor, connecting the eyes to the brain. By imitating the human brain, we create an artificial consciousness for each individual camera. Using each camera's history, we build the reference routine and compare it to live video coming in real time. The processing of both creates a decision, whether it's interesting and relevant, and whether to send an alert. The result? Control centers can monitor thousands of cameras simultaneously, analyze and respond in real time. Our solution brings the surveillance camera back to its original purpose, adding real-time effectiveness in every corner of the urban space.
And here with us today is David Sur, a former member of the Israeli parliament, former police commander of the Tel Aviv district, and the former commander of the Israeli police counterterrorism unit, also known as Yamam. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, Ronen.
David, what are the main challenges municipality and organizational safety and security managers are currently facing, and how are they dealing with these challenges?
As we saw in the video, the mass urbanization, mass data, which is coming into from videos, from all kinds of signals. It's a huge, huge challenge how to analyze them and to give, on the real time, a good picture. So security and safety became a huge issue based in the cities, on the critical infrastructure facilities. And as much as we can put layers of technology, this is something which definitely assists on giving a real-time picture. And that's why we need, in order not to flow the human factor, we need a good system which can analyze and do a good fusion.
So how can technology support the security and safety goals that you've mentioned?
Okay, if I'm going back and doing post-mortem from terror activities or severe crime, street crimes, we can go and see that the information was there. Intelligence can, of course, prevent before, but there's a limit how intelligence can prevent. And when we're looking and on the signals and we do the post-mortem, we can see that we could maybe, on the command and control, identify this issue, but the human factor is limited. So this kind of technology actually can assist. It's a tool which is assisting on decision makers on real time.
Interesting. David, thank you so much.
Sure.
Also with us today is Jonathan Ben-Dov, VP of Sales and Marketing at CoAg-TAD. Jonathan will give a deeper explanation of how CoAg-TAD's technology works and how it helps organizations respond to incidents in real time.
Thank you, Lauren. Hi. So, as Sue explained, there's a constant growth of video flowing into control rooms. And the challenge is, how do we identify unusual and suspicious behavior out of this massive inflow of video? And this is exactly the problem CoAg-TAD solves. CoAg-TAD detects suspicious and unusual behavior by leveraging cutting-edge AI technology. It's a self-machine learning solution that studies the norm, looks for things outside the norm, and reports on them. Or in other words, looking and reporting on anomalies. And you may ask why focus on anomalies, and the reason is that all incidents contain an anomaly, whether it's fire, smoke, fights, traffic incidents, flooding, a tree fall down, all those incidents contain anomalies. And by detecting them, we're able to give controllers actionable intelligence and the ability to respond to events in real time. If you look at the video running at the background, the chase scene or the bag theft, you will see that they've been detected by the system. They've been detected purely on anomaly detection. There are 0 rules configured in those environments, 0 learned by example, and 0 pre-configuration. And as you can also see, it covers a very, very wide range of incidents, detectable incidents. The uniqueness of ODTEX is that it's a self-machine learning system. It's fully automatic and autonomous, and it's highlighting selective and relevant systems incidents only. It is turning every camera into a smart incident detector. Verticals such as HLS, smart cities, security, transportation and operation will all benefit from using ODTEX. The advantages are that you can monitor unlimited amount of cameras. It far greatly improves the effectiveness of the monitoring, and it provides operators with actionable intelligence and insights for decision-making and responses in real time. Thank you very much for your time, and I will now hand you back to Lauren.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. All right, I want to bring Nicholas back into the conversation. Thank you, Nicholas, for staying with us. So just last week, Greece and Israel signed a record defense deal. But would it be correct to say that it was just the tip of the iceberg and there is far more to come in terms of strategic ties between the two countries?
Yes, you're referring to, I have to happily speak about another agreement. You're referring to an agreement that the Israeli MOD signed with the Hellenic Ministry of National Defense. And this is an expansive agreement over a course of 22 years. It's actually a rather large deal of 1.4 billion euros over that period of time, of course. And this is for operating and establishing an international flight training center in Greece. This is a government-to-government agreement again, and but Elbit Systems will provide flight simulators, training staff, maintenance, and support over the period of those years. And this is a priority for Athens to provide a high standard of training for new pilots, especially in the new type of aircraft that we have been ordering. Now, yeah, it's important for us to improve readiness in this respect, and this is an important deal. I don't really want to talk too much about defense. I don't know too much about it, and B, you don't tend to talk about these defense deals publicly until they're actually concluded. So, but I would have to say that you mentioned the iceberg. I don't know if this is a negative or a positive connotation. I mean, icebergs are sometimes bad things, but in this case, I'll just take the volume of the iceberg, and there is a lot there. So if we talk about volume, and there's a lot of goodwill between Greece and Israel to cooperate. And I said that before, and it's definitely true about this sector too. And I mean, suffice it to say that we both countries that are living in a geopolitical environment which is highly inflammatory, and we have to live close to neighbors who are not always easy to coexist with. So this is a bonding agent between our countries, and of course, it creates a lot of opportunities for bilateral cooperation, and of course, multilateral cooperation too, because what President Plevneliev said just a few minutes ago is very true about the EU. So, having said that about defense cooperation, I still have to say that our level of bilateral ties are very, very strong. But again, stress what I answered to you before, that we're very interested in cooperation in cybersecurity, and this is of strategic importance for us. To create, to safeguard critical infrastructure and create a system of governance and safeguard it. So yes, we look forward to continuing our bilateral ties.
Great, Nicholas. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on now to Cyabra, who's breaking down online media to empower brands and uncover disinformation. More in the following clip.
Across social media channels are billions of conversations waiting to be unraveled. Hidden within these layers are bad actors, spreading disinformation and harmful narratives. Cyabra taps into these hives of activity to filter through the noise and uncover trends, authenticity, and deep fake threats. Connecting the dots, Cyabra enables companies to make smarter decisions, respond to their true audiences, protect brand names, and remediate crises. Cyabra, more than listening.
Dan Brahmi is the CEO and co-founder at Cyabra, a pioneering startup in the field of truth tech. I'd like to speak with you today about disinformation, of course, and the snowball effect. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
So give us a quick introduction about Cyabra, what exactly Cyabra does.
Cyabra was established 3 years ago by leaders of information warfare operations from the IDF with cumulative years of around 20-something years in Seoul. And what we did is we wanted to reverse engineer everything that we have researched and gathered and eventually implemented in order to create that, what we call the filtering mechanism, both for the enterprise sector, brands, and financial services companies, as well as public sector and homeland security agencies. And so, in a sense, what we're trying to create is an authenticity lens for those organizations to better understand what is happening out there without any interruption or bad or fake authors' involvement. That's what we're doing.
Interesting. So what exactly is disinformation, and what is the main difference between disinformation and fake news?
The way that we're looking at disinformation is it involves 3 types of categories. As Dan myself, I am a person that can falsify who I am on any social media platform. Think about it. I could be John Smith, I could be Moshe Cohen for a reason, and it's really easy nowadays to create false identities like what we call bots and sock puppets, right? That is one category. The second one is what we call the visual aspect, the visual content, where not only I can falsify who I am, but I can also create and generate really realistic pictures and videos of things that never happened and never appeared online. Last but not least, and you spoke about fake news earlier, fake news is one category out of it. It's the ability to lie and to eventually change and manipulate written pieces of content. So the way that we look at those 2 pieces of information is fake news can be solved through fact-checking, but it is actually one aspect of the entire world or realm of what we call disinformation and that we're trying to solve.
So how does Cyabra solve that problem through its technology?
Well, the way that we're looking at the issue of disinformation is eventually we cannot allow our customers to have anything that falls through the cracks. So the things that we're doing is we are gathering tens of thousands of, we are actually looking at tens of thousands of different channels and eventually analyzing billions of conversations to make sure that nothing falls through the cracks. And only publicly available data, but that is not the only thing that we do. The second thing that we do is we're looking at the authenticity, and that's what we touched up earlier. It's the fact that we're building that filtering mechanism around the pictures and the videos and the authors that are involved around those conversations and those snowball effect, those narratives. And last but not least, you cannot cross the chasm and make sure that real people will be part of an orchestrated information if you don't have impact. And so that is why the entire AI that we have built for the last 3 years is built around measuring the impact effect, or what we call the proliferation effect, as well as the trustworthiness, the truthfulness of things that are happening online. So those are the 3 major plays that we're looking at.
So we've talked a lot about the company's technology. What's ahead for the company? What are its next steps?
Well, we could humbly say that 2020 was a really crucial and important year for us. We've been growing tremendously in terms of revenue and added new relevant customers, one of them being the US State Department, for example. But I would like to say that for us, 2021 is an even more important year because we are going to double the size of the team. And since we recently opened our US offices, then we're looking to expand the US team as well. And soon to be announced, we have eventually raised a couple of millions of dollars from amazing investors, both in the US and Israel. And we're looking to say that to the entire world.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Dan Brahmi, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you very much.
The coronavirus showed us that food supply chains are far more vulnerable than perhaps previously thought, even in developed countries. And food security is essential to national security, of course. Mr. Bogdan Bazga is an economist who specializes in food security and has represented Romania in the United Nations Organization for Food and Agriculture, FAO. Thank you for joining me, sir.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Yes, indeed. In this period, the coronavirus show us that the food supply and the food chain are not very well prepared. But and it's obvious that the food is the first on the top priority for every country all over the world. And because the food insecurity for every country can generate very and quickly internally severe convulsions and social tensions, and can damage the physical and mental health of the population. That means can create also an economical and political instability, and can attract extremely diplomatic pressures. Everything is right connected to the homeland security. I will use the previous speaker to say that the discussion on the cyber, and especially for fake news, and there are a lot of possibility to interfere on the food supply. It's just needed to appear on the media a fake news that in a country or in region will be lack of food or a crisis of water, and that will create the people a massive attack, could I say, on the market. And another one very important possibility as a cyber attack could be on the database, which can influence the price, and the price volatility. It immediately can generate an crisis on food. Could be also damaging also the attacks on cyber for the food reserves, on the system of for water reserves. Anyway, the source of the legitimacy of the state is his ability to provide security, respectively to protect and maintain the rights and the homeland security for his citizens. In fact, in the pyramid of needs, which was formulated by Abraham Maslow, the need of the security, food security, is placed on the second level of importance immediately after the psychological needs. As a short conclusion, the food security is a very important component of the national security for each country. And the state has the national security only when he has the food security.
Sir, we're seeing a trend toward far greater automation and robotics, especially in food processing plants, but also in agriculture, where the use of systems like GPS, automation, robotics, and IoT is becoming far more prevalent, thus exposing the length of supply chain to cyber threats. Is there sufficient awareness of this issue?
Yes, the answer is yes. It's very important, the new technology. And the new technology develop more the producers for the food. It's obvious that the system can be influenced for the attacks, for the intention of, as an example, of bioterrorism in alimentary, on food bioterrorism. I would like also to underline one of the very beautiful things, could I say, on the European level, and especially for Romania, on the fight on the cyber security. In 9th of December last year, 2020, at Brussels, it was decided that in Bucharest, in Romania, will be create the headquarters for the European cybersecurity for industrial technology, research, and also for the food. And for us, it was a great and historical decision, which provide all over the Europe, but also all over the world, that Romania, it's one of the best, could I say, example to fight against cyber attacks.
All right, Mr. Bazga, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Accubeat, a high-tech company located in Jerusalem, is a leading manufacturer of highly accurate frequency and timing solutions used in defense, homeland security, critical infrastructures, aerospace, telecommunications, space exploration, and more. Accubeat's products and solutions are deployed by the IDF, the U.S. Air Force, the European Space Agency, Europe's Galileo navigation system, telecommunication companies, utilities, and critical networks, both in Israel and internationally. Take a look.
Since the dawn of time, clocks mark the progress of technology. New clock innovations mark the beginning of new eras. From the Renaissance to the Age of Discovery, through the wonders of modern technology and space exploration, accuracy is everything. Accubeat manufactures atomic clocks, which are an integral part of our modern world. Accubeat's atomic clocks provide highly accurate timing and synchronization for industrial, critical infrastructure, and military applications. An exclusive supplier to the U.S. Air Force, the Israeli IDF, and many other Tier 1 integrators, Accubeat's atomic clocks and PNT solutions are used in systems from fighter jets to missile systems and to submarines worldwide. The ground segment of Europe's Galileo satellite navigation system relies on Accubeat's rubidium systems, as do manufacturers of testing equipment and research institutes. Critical infrastructures such as power companies, telecommunication networks, and financial institutes are all synchronized by Accubeat's atomic clocks. And as cyber attacks jam and spoof GPS signals, causing widespread outages and damage, Accubeat has developed and patented a series of products and solutions that will protect your most critical systems in a GPS-denied environment. The European Space Agency selected Accubeat's ultra-stable oscillator to carry out scientific experiments in deep space as part of its JUICE mission to the planet Jupiter. Accubeat is trusted by strategic costumers worldwide. And although fast is fine, accuracy is everything.
Joining us in the studio is David Fagelstone, Vice President of International Sales at Accubeat, a world leader in designing and manufacturing atomic clocks, as well as exceedingly accurate time and frequency products and solutions. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. You're welcome.
So, what is an atomic clock and why is it so important? Let's start with that.
Okay, well, without going into a detailed technical explanation, we can basically say that an atomic clock is probably the most, probably the most accurate timing device invented by man. Whereas a regular watch or a clock may be accurate to about a second or so, and that's fine for most of us. When we talk about atomic clocks, we're talking about accuracy in the range of micro or even nanoseconds, meaning that it would lose a second in the space of about hundreds or even thousands of years. As a regular clock requires some sort of a timing mechanism, such as a pendulum or an oscillator, in an atomic clock, we use the quantum transition of electrons within the atom to give us an exceedingly accurate frequency, which we turn into time. Why are they so important? Well, as you can see on the slide here, everybody's using them. Being military and aerospace, they're used in critical infrastructures, they're used in commercial applications. We're probably not aware in most cases, but the one that we all use the most, that I'm sure you use today as well, is actually in the GPS. Definitely. We all use it all the time on our phones for navigation. You probably needed to use it to get to the studio today. Absolutely. I certainly did. And the GPS technology is based entirely on atomic clocks. GPS was developed by the US military in the 80s, became operational in about 93, and for the past 20 years or so, it's been available to all of us. It's free. It's exceedingly accurate, it's exceedingly reliable, and we all use it every day without realizing we're using atomic clocks. But atomic clocks are actually used in a lot more than that. Telecommunication companies, the cell towers direct your phone calls using atomic clocks. Financial institutes, make sure your transactions are exactly done at the right time using atomic clocks. Power companies are delivering electricity using atomic clocks, and many more examples. So while we all think of GPS as actually navigation, in fact, it's giving us timing, and that timing is exceedingly important to make sure that machines all around the world are all basically using the same accurate time,
right.
And if necessary, can be synchronized one with the other exceedingly accurately.
So speaking of GPS, if you could just explain for us, what exactly is GPS jamming or spoofing?
Okay, so these are terms that have come up in the past few years related to GPS. As with anything that's free and good, there are always people who are going to try and exploit it, and that's what happened with GPS. So, as I mentioned, the GPS satellites, well, they're about 20,000 kilometers above us in the sky. By the time that signal reaches us on the ground, it's exceedingly weak. It's been compared, in fact, to turning on a 40-watt light bulb in New York and trying to view it in California. You don't see very much. So, as drivers began to use GPS to navigate their way through traffic and plan routes, employers realized, oh, this is a good opportunity to see where the driver actually is, making sure he's actually delivering your parcel and not taking a nap somewhere else on the way. But employees didn't like this. They didn't like this invasion of privacy, so the tech-savvy ones came up with GPS jammers. Since, as I mentioned, the signal is exceedingly weak, it doesn't take much to jam it or block it out. Now, you don't have to be tech-savvy anymore. Go onto the internet. There are dozens of sites that sell GPS jammers. Here's one here. You can buy them almost anywhere. They're actually illegal to use, but legal to own. Doesn't quite make sense, but if you can work it out, you can explain it to me. So you can easily buy one. And there are many, many cases documented already of GPS jamming. For example, in Newark Airport in 2012, they were using GPS to help guide aircraft. Suddenly they discovered lots of disruptions. Turns out somebody on site had a GPS jammer, was causing problems. Same year, in the London Stock Exchange, for about 10 minutes, they were losing timing. Serious stuff in the financial world. And there are other documented cases as well. So that's GPS jamming. There are hundreds of cases that are documented all the time from what they call these privacy protection devices, which are problematic. Spoofing is taking it to another level. Spoofing basically captures the GPS signal, plays around with it a little bit, and then retransmits it with the wrong information with the intention to cause a problem, to cause a malfunction, to cause a deception, to cause a problem to the receiving antenna. Now, that can be serious. There have been experiments that show how easy it is to spoof a military drone, how you can cause problems with lots of things, how ships can be taken off course. In fact, 2017, in the Black Sea, about 20 ships suddenly found themselves to be actually located in mainland Russia. We can see this in a short clip that we can see now on the screen.
June 22nd, 2017, a merchant vessel sailing in Russian waters in the Black Sea disappeared from screens. The ship hadn't actually gone anywhere, but its GPS signal was now showing that it was about 25 miles away. It now appeared to be in mainland Russia, at an airport. And it wasn't just one ship.
All the ships in the vicinity were facing exactly the same problem. So basically we were all stuck in the same position, like 20 ships in the same position pretty much.
The case is one of the first well-documented examples of what experts are calling GPS spoofing, something that could be used as a cyber weapon.
So how can this affect critical infrastructures such as, for example, a power company?
Okay, so as I mentioned, critical infrastructures, many of them, including power companies, are actually using this GPS for timing. It's an essential part of their network. Now, as I mentioned, spoofing is not hard to do, and there are papers that have been written and documented, and you can easily find them on the internet, showing how easily one could attack a power company, and within about 15 minutes of starting a spoofing attack, you don't have to be physically located on the site. You need to know where the GPS antenna is, and know a little bit of technical information, but it's all available on the internet these days, as is everything. You could bring down a power company. You could cause it to basically fall over, blackouts to millions of people. Everybody's no longer got electricity. And this is a serious problem for power companies, for financial institutes, for telecom networks. All of these critical infrastructures that we mentioned are relying on this technology of GPS, which is up there and free to use, is there, to the extent that already last year, in February last year, President Donald Trump issued an executive order. We can see some of bullets on the screen here, that basically all critical infrastructures relying on PNT, on position, navigation, and timing, have to have resilience in place. They have to be able to manage cases where they might be disrupted, where they might be manipulated, and they might come to a situation where they're actually falling over and causing disaster. So, Ronen, this is a new form of cyber terrorism, basically. We're not talking about hacking into the Pentagon. We're not talking about sending missiles, of course, but we are definitely talking of causing havoc to millions of people, be it in the financial world, telecoms, or power, as we mentioned before.
So now that you've mentioned all the threats and the potential problems, what solutions does AccuBeat offer to help solve these problems?
A good question. So as we can see on the screen, we have designed, patented a fairly unique solution, which we call the time firewall. What we are basically doing, as can be seen, is introducing an extra piece of equipment into an existing critical infrastructure that already has a timing network. We're not asking you to replace the whole expensive network that you've already invested lots of time and money and it's working well, but add this extra piece of equipment that will sit between the GPS antenna on the one side and the timing network that you have on the other. What is it doing? It's basically monitoring the signal that's coming from the GPS antenna from the sky. If everything's okay, which hopefully it will be, the signal goes through, no problem, you continue to operate normally. If, however, it detects an anomaly, somebody's jammed or spoofed your signal, something's wrong, so it does a couple of things. Number one, it says, don't use the GPS anymore. I will provide the timing from my internal atomic clock, which is part of my time firewall. Secondly, I will send out an indication to your network center that something has happened at this particular site so you can come and investigate. Now, this is a patented solution. It's patented in Israel, in the USA, and in a few other countries. It's a solution that's plug and play and doesn't require you to replace all your expensive legacy equipment. I think you could compare it to a sort of insurance policy. So it's the sort of thing that you put your money in, you hope you'll never use it, but if that day comes along when you do need it for whatever reason, you'll be glad that you put it there and you've invested a small amount of money to save your $1 million network.
And do you already have existing installations?
Well, we definitely do. Indeed, we do. Originally, this technology was developed for the military on the whole. So we have military customers. Obviously, I can't expand too much on that. But on the non-military side, we have installations in the Israel Electric Company that is using our equipment. We have in a strategic transport network here in Israel. And we have other installations locally and internationally as well. We're always looking for new partners who can spread this technology. So if people are interested in anything that I've said today and anything that we've mentioned, my contact details are on the screen. Be happy if they reach out to me directly or obviously through today's organizers. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Rosen, Plevneliev, back to you. We've seen several fascinating presentations up until now. What is your impression so far?
You wouldn't imagine, first of all, how impressed I was, but secondly, how timely is what we see today. For example, when I was the acting head of state of Bulgaria for the period 2012-2017, I got at least 6 fake, call them false, Facebook profiles. Some of them managed from abroad, and all of them pretending that it's the Bulgarian head of state. I tried, can you imagine a head of state is trying, using the secret services, the European services, to fight my own fake news profiles in internet, in Facebook. And in those years, between 2012, 2017, it wasn't that easy. So really being very angry about how they can really falsify, bombard the millions of Bulgarians with fake news that never come from their own president. That was a lesson I learned the hard way. And also looking about these amazing solutions for the atomic clock and the GPS security. Black Sea is where Bulgaria is at home. It's our border. And we were shocked when we saw this. We were guessing who's behind that, what's happening there. And again, the good guys should find a solution. We should come back together. Our ports, our airports, our institutions need such solutions as you present today. I'm very excited to be here, to listen very carefully, and very, very, very excited and very motivated to do my best to bring those solutions also to my country and the region.
Thank you very much, Mr. President Rosen Plevneliev. Thank you to our viewers as well. And remember, Improvate is about making practical changes, exposing Israeli tech innovators to governments, investors, and companies around the world to promote businesses whose goal is innovation and helping countries further their development. The exposure right here at this conference is a first step, followed up with delegations and real business connections. Joining us now in the studio is former head of the Mossad, Danny Yatom, and Improvate board member, Reserves Major General Amos Gilad, Executive Director of the Institute for Policy and Strategy at IDC Herzliya, and the chairman of the Institute's annual Herzliya Conference Series. Retired Major General Danny Yatom served in the IDF in many positions, including as head of Central Command and military secretary to Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin. He then served as director of the Mossad and chief of staff to Prime Minister Ehud Barak. He is currently the chairman of Dantov Global Consulting Group and the president of WEN Group. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
So one of the lessons of the coronavirus crisis was that health security is a vital component to homeland security. Israel employed the Mossad in the early days of the crisis to secure medical equipment and know-how, of course. As a former director of the agency, what do you make of its use in circumstances like these?
All of us remember that during the first days of the pandemic, or the first weeks of the pandemic, there was a huge confusion here in Israel. And the government didn't know exactly how to tackle it. In such a case and under such circumstances, it was right to mobilize the Mossad due to the fact that, firstly, the Mossad reacts very quickly. And secondly, the Mossad has many, many contacts all over the world, many of which are with countries that do not maintain any diplomatic relations with Israel. So the agents of the Mossad were sent to all over the places to activate all their links and connections in order to first and foremost purchase equipment that was in a very, very dangerous lack. For instance, breathing machines, hospital beds, defensive overalls.
Things the whole world was looking for at the time.
Exactly, and not only that, exactly, you are correct. There was a very, very tough competition between all those countries that were looking for such stuff, because we know that not only Israel was not prepared, the entire world was not prepared, and there are still countries that tackle with the pandemic due to the fact that they failed to contain it and to allow their citizens to get back to normal life. In Israel, we are lucky, not only because of the assistance of the Mossad, but in addition to it. In addition, the Mossad also created the center for equipping and purchasing all those devices, because we not only went to countries that we have, the Mossad, okay? Not only went to countries with very close relations, but also, you know, to hostile countries in order to cooperate underneath the table. And the Mossad, with all the other elements like the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Security, Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Finance, and many other elements, sat there, and the Mossad coordinated the entire activity of purchasing the equipment that was then lacking. And it helped, no doubt that it helped. I don't know how to weight it exactly, but in such a case, when there is a national crisis, a country like Israel, which is a small country with limited resources, a country like Israel should mobilize all our efforts and all our capabilities in order to cope with the problem. And that's what happened.
And we might be in a better place right now, today, because of what happened back then.
Of course, we are now in a much better place. I think that we are the first country that, as a matter of fact, gets back relatively, not fully, but relatively to normal life.
Right. We're almost there. Right.
Almost.
Yes,
we have to do one small additional step, and we will be there.
Little by little. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, Major General Amos Gilad served as Director of Policy and Political Military Affairs at the Ministry of Defense. During 30 years of service with the IDF, he was, among other positions, head of the Military Intelligence Research Division and Military Secretary of Prime Minister and Defense Minister Yitzhak Rabin. Good to have you with us again, of course.
Thank you.
The SolarWinds breach showed us the huge damage potential of state-sponsored cyber attacks. Is it fair to say that the cyber defenses of the United States and other Western countries aren't concrete enough or modern enough? And what can they do about it?
Following what General Yatom has just said, I think the whole issue of the virus is promo for what we need to expect if, for example, Hezbollah and Iran will dare to attack us. Because unlike the virus that is unseen and hurting only human beings, the next operations, including cyber, will be aimed against the infrastructure of Israel, buildings, roads, and so on. So in a way, it's early warning. Unlike the virus, I don't think there will be some vaccinations that will help us. So my lesson, the major lesson I do have, it's not new because we have mentioned it even in conferences, that we need to be organized and prepared for real multi-dimensional attack, including cyber, against the Achilles heel of State of Israel, that is the population and the fragile infrastructure and the hospitals and so on and so on. That's my major lesson. Because I try to, with all the due respect, and I do have, to Mossad and others, there was no full recruitment of all resources of the country. And we need to draw lessons to be prepared. And the cyber, in the offensives that nobody is talking about, we are in excellent position. In defense, we need to improve. And about other issues, we are not talking. So the cyber is part of what we need to expect. It's not some frightening. It's like you say in the Bible, like it said in the Bible, the writing on the wall.
All right, Amos Gilad, thank you. And please stay with us. We will come back to you.
Of course.
Of course. TerraFence changes the rules of the game by connecting IoT and IIoT to the internet cloud at a security military grade level in the simplest and most cost-effective way. Let's watch a short video presentation.
IP cameras are all around us, helping us guard our buildings, streets, and critical assets from conspiring cyber criminals. The damage of an attack can reach billions. And judging by recent events, we simply don't do enough to protect our assets. It may be their powerful CPU, easy to access location and passwords, published codes, or even backdoors left behind by their manufacturers that make CCTV IP cameras so attractive and vulnerable to attacks. Whatever the reason, this has to stop. TerraFence has just the solution for it. Our technological solution physically isolates IoT and NOT devices while maintaining data flow and control uninterrupted, using ingenious software and hardware-based architecture that enables to physically segment the IoT device. Any hacking attempt is rendered futile. And while all paths are physically blocked and access denied to and from the device, video and/or any data continue to stream uninterrupted, completely protected from cyber threats. The proprietary TerraFence solution impacts all 7 OSI layers with emphasis on the first 2 layers. offering the most cost-effective security for multiple IoT and industrial IoT applications. Data flows only the way it was designed and gets only where planned, while any suspicious anomaly is immediately detected. Terafint's segmentation and isolation solution. Welcome to a dawn of a new era in IoT and NOT device security.
Pini Huber is SVP of Global Sales at Terafint. He gained significant experience in managing complex projects during his time at the Prime Minister's office, and he is currently responsible for all of Terafint's business activities. Thank you, Pini, for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So what is the Terafint innovation, and how does it differ from its competitors?
So I'll just relate to what General Gilad said about the attacks and the need to be protected. So there are many solutions in the world today to separate and to protect and secure the data. The problem or the concern is just its legacy technology, very complex, transmitters and receivers, a very expensive one. While Terafint came with this one, this chip, everything on the silicon, everything on this Intel FPGA, which what we are doing, we are kind of created a new rule and the rule of the game and created a smart wire. We call it smart air gap data flow controller. So it can transmit the data from any direction to any direction with a military grade proof with advanced feature that are very needed or required by the industry and the wide range of the industry, from the critical infrastructures to even medical devices.
So tell me specifically which markets Terafint is looking to approach.
Okay, so I just started of the critical infrastructure is a real and major concern because it's not now a fake or a fairy tale. There are attempts, thousands of attempts, so any critical infrastructure, the power, the water, nuclear, name it. And we are now targeted the industry forward, the smart industry, smart factories, which by requirement or by definition, they have to be monitored online all the time in order to send the information to the secure cloud and then to have a predictive and preventive maintenance. While if they don't have the solution, or it's not cost effective, or it's not with a low footprint, they cannot adopt this solution. At the end of the day, this is what we are doing, and you can see in the movie in the back that we created a strategic OEM with one of the biggest, largest company in the world, IMA Group, that are manufacturing, packaging box and production line. Another two segments that we are dealing with is the IP cameras to secure any smart cities, any IP camera, just to isolate it and to disappear it from the network. And we are approaching to medical devices.
Interesting. So looking forward, what's ahead, what's in the future for Terafint?
So, in order to have great technology, you have to have the best people. So Terafint says the best engineers, hardware engineers that design Intel and specific and sophisticated routers, communication, satellite communication, and even software developers, which this is just a part of our milestone. The next one will be any protection to medical devices or wearables. The other milestones and the final one will be system on a chip, which means take all this appliance and just put it in a chip. Everyone will be embedded it, and this is maybe the ultimate protection and security for IoT devices.
Very impressive technology. Thank you so much for joining me today, Pini. Okay, let's move now to Admiral Emil Eftimov, who's the Chief of Defense of the Bulgarian Armed Forces. He's a graduate of the U.S. Naval War College in Newport, Rhode Island, and of the Senior Officers Corps NATO School in Oberammergau, Germany. Good to have you with us today, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy and positive to take part in Improvate conference. And when President Plevneliev called me, I immediately accepted his invitations, not only to pay regard and appreciate President Plevneliev, but being involved recently in many interactions with Israeli companies, I highly regard the technological advances we are getting in our mutual cooperation. And I really believe there is really room for improvement and future relationship. So once again, thank you for inviting me.
We are very happy to have you with us today. So if you could tell us kindly, what is the role of the Bulgarian armed forces in support of domestic agencies in the area of homeland security?
This is really a relevant question. And if you ask the Bulgarian Chief of Defense 10 years ago or 20 years ago, the response answer for sure supposed to be different. But since we are living in a very dynamic security situation, the role of the armed forces are shifting, adapting to the new reality. And recently, in order to contribute to the homeland security, Bulgarian national law on defense was amended accordingly, thus allowing us to help other services in combating terrorism and on the border security.
The pace of technological change creates a situation where new and emerging dangers rapidly outpace defenses. What possible lines of action do you see as applicable in preventing breaches to national security in the short to medium-term future?
This is another feature of the nowadays reality. Investing in defense is a complex and difficult process, and especially when we oblige complex national law procedures, and until we procure something and being able to operate the situation and so-called emerging disruptive technologies are evolving and presenting the new threat. And not only Bulgaria, but NATO, EU, trying to present concerted efforts, are coming up with concept how to tackle the emerging and disruptive technologies. And I would join in the concepts by saying that I'll see several main points, and first supposed to be access to the information, accessibility of information of these new emerging threats. Then, of course, since the homeland security and domestic answer is supposed to come from the different agencies, different organizations, concerted planning is more than needed in this regard in order to provide relevant answer. Then, of course, we need to be linked together. All agencies, all organizations involved in this domain supposed to be linked, and then to execute joint planning, joint training, and exercises. That's my answer to your question.
Sir, I also wanted to ask you about quantum computing. What would be the significance of a quantum capability in the hands of possibly a rogue actor?
This is another very dangerous factor. Access to the technologies is not limited. That's why you cannot exclude these options. And this provides another challenges and very difficult question to this. So once again, the development of quantum computing or technology depends on national capabilities, abilities of scientific society to create innovations and ultimately to build change of security and defense. Once again, no one country is capable to tackle of these challenges by itself. So in our case, we're trying to work together within the NATO and EU policies. and we pretty much rely on the products developed in those organizations. But this does not mean that we're lagging behind. We're trying to catch up, and this also exposes us to the questions how conventional we are. Because traditionally, the military, the defense system, especially in the Eastern Europe, have been quite conventional. That's why I think that in order to adjust to the nowadays reality, you're supposed to be more improvatable. Let me say, to link with the conference. I would like to mention our cooperation with the Israeli companies. I don't know if not exactly linked to the question, but what we are benefiting recently with cooperating with Israeli companies. Saying that we are traditionally conventional, if we follow defense development of defense capabilities in the conventional way, I'm afraid we will not be relevant to the nowadays challenges and developments when we speak on the quantum computing, emerging disruptive technologies. Israeli companies and an Israeli defense system are being presented to many threats and being able to prove their capabilities and their development provides, in this regard, affordable, cost-effective, and very relevant solutions to defense and security system. And I would like to use this forum and to thanks to the IAI, to Rafael, to Elbit for the excellent cooperation. And I believe we are going to continue in this regard. Thank you so much.
Admiral Eftimov, thank you once again for being with us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, with us now is Shahr Gal, CEO of General Robotics, which develops and provides advanced robotic systems for saving and protecting special forces. Before we hear more from him, let's watch a short presentation. Shahr, welcome to the studio. Thank you for joining me today.
My pleasure.
So, what was the background for establishing General Robotics?
General Robotics is a family company. It was established by my father.
Wow.
He was a colonel at the Ministry of Defense, and he was one of the people responsible for the R&D of the State of Israel for many years. Meanwhile, I have a brother-in-law, and he is an Israeli Navy SEAL. So he participated in many operations. And in one of the operations, him and his team were ambushed, and he was severely injured. He has friends that are still handicapped and friends that were killed. So after that happened, my father decided to open a company that will make systems that can save lives of special forces. And this is how General Robotics was born. Now, if we go fast forward 10 years to today, today our systems are operational in more than a dozen countries. They're being used by more than 30 special forces worldwide, including at the unit where my brother-in-law served.
Definitely a very important cause. What is the company's core technology that it's based off of?
When we started, we were thinking, how can we help special forces the most? And how can we be most beneficial? We saw that they're already very highly trained and they're very well equipped. But what many times they lack is situational awareness. And situational awareness is understanding in real time what's happening from within the danger zone. So we decided to focus on that and to do technology that will bring that situational awareness for them. I'll give you an example, sometimes just information that seems trivial. For example, where is the terrorist? How does that environment look like? Are there neutral people nearby that we mustn't hurt? Where are other friendly forces that we need to take into consideration? That information is many times not available before they engage. So we decided to make technology that will provide that information. And the way we did it, we've developed our core IP is electronics. We call it, it's the robotics brain. And the reason we call it robotics brain, because we connect it to many video cameras, so that's the eyes of the robot. We attached many microphones to it, so that's the ears of the robot. And we put on top of that an artificial intelligence layer. And when we have that, what we do is we put it into different kinds of robots. We put it into small, medium, and large robots. We also have RCWS systems that we can put on any unmanned vehicle. And we send these systems into the most dangerous areas. And these systems transmit information real time of what's going on, so the special forces see it, and they see it as if they are there at the danger zone. And now when they have all that information, they know what to expect when they decide to engage. So, and we also give them a capability to engage remotely. So this increases probability for mission success and decreases probability for injuries, friendly fire, and of course for casualties.
So once inside of that danger zone, what exactly is the role that robots play on the battlefield?
I think that now we're at a very exciting time with respect to robotics, because we have now robots, they're coming like waves at different applications that they weren't there before. We're not allowed to say what we're doing with special forces, but we have here some pictures in the background that are allowed to release. And you see now robots that are being used indoors for anti-terror and crime, for example. You can see robots that are being used for, this is classic battlefield protection and cover fire. We can see robots that are being used for automatic border protection, for underground and tunnel warfare. So many different applications are happening right now with the special forces. And I think what's exciting about it, we're not just activating robots with the special forces. What we're doing, we're building with them together the concept of operation, how to do it effectively, how to do it in a way that will save lives the most. And what we're doing today with these special forces is what all armies and law enforcement agencies are going to adopt just a few years from now.
Very interesting. Thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure.
All right, I want to bring the conversation over back to you, Amos Gilad. How are you doing over there?
Thank you.
I wanted to know if you had any comments about the presentation that you just watched.
Fascinating. It reflects the vision of the Chief of Staff today, Lieutenant General Kochavi, that keeps speaking and talking and preaching to modernize the armed forces for future warfare, including all these technologies. It looks like James Bond, but not in movie, in reality.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So Israel, as we have already mentioned, is a country that has gained its edge in homeland security because of its unique circumstances and the challenges it, of course, faces. The military acts as a sort of greenhouse that cultivates talent and ideas and is a testing ground for new technologies. What does Israel have to do to maintain its advantage in security-related technologies, both to maintain its qualitative edge and to continue to produce world-leading products? What do you think?
First, I would like to share with you what is well known, that in the front against terror, we are leading. I mean, it's unbelievable. Hundreds of efforts to carry out spectacular acts of terror, namely to murder, to kill Israeli citizens, and so on, and they keep failing. And the main reason is using very well technology in a way that nobody could imagine, in all services and in the armed forces. It's unbelievable. What we need to do is to continue, and unlike the past, the private initiatives, in a way, are some kind of locomotive like nobody could imagine, because the army, our intelligence service, with all their resources, used to be the pioneers. But now it's divided between them. So we need to use and to exhaust the potential in the government, military intelligence potential, and the private one, to be able to carry out together the future strategic missions.
All right, thank you. And please, of course, stay with us. We will come back to you once again.
Of course.
First Point Mobile Guard delivers a holistic cellular security solution, providing organizations with comprehensive protection for any mobile IoT or IIoT device. Completely unobtrusive, seamless, and frictionless, it creates a secure, robust gateway between the cellular network and the devices, protecting against all kinds of mobile threats. Let's watch.
In today's fast-paced world, almost every device is connected to the internet through Wi-Fi or cellular networks. The recent growth of BYOD, IoT, and internal cellular networks has made enterprises increasingly reliant on cellular communications. Despite the growing popularity of cellular devices and communications, they could unwillingly expose sensitive data through malicious exploits that track locations, hack and eavesdrop, insert malware, or deny service entirely without detection. With new 5G networks, the risks still exist and are even greater. Introducing Cellular Cybersecurity by First Point, a best-in-class cellular network-level protection for any SIM-based device, from 2G to 5G, defending from cyber attacks without disrupting experience, speed, or functionality. First Point provides seamless, innovative protection in one platform for all devices. Any device, simple or smart, with or without an operating system, even while roaming. Offering per-device profiling, CISO control, and a 24/7 war room. Customize security per policy, scenario, location, or group from one central platform. Secure any mobile phone or connected device with zero impact on the user experience for increased user adoption. First Point's seamless user experience requires no software or special hardware, no CPU or battery hits with network-level security updates. Detect, alert, protect. First Point Mobile Guard. Secure cellular communications for any device.
Professor Dror Fixler is the CEO and co-founder of First Point Mobile Guard and a world-class expert in telecom and cyber. With decades of experience on the attack side, he founded First Point in 2016 to protect sensitive organizations from criminals, terrorists, and state-sponsored attacks. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Great to be with you.
So why are mobile networks used for attacking people and companies in the first place?
There are several reasons for this kind of action of terror as well as business company. If you want to know what your competitors is doing, the best is just to track their salesmen. And you want to collect the information like their location or the calls, who they are calling to, what they are saying during this call, and what kind of data they are sending. And this is the first reason. The second, that more and more elements are connecting to the cellular network from 2G to 5G, including critical infrastructure. Electricity, as an example, it's a very big segment that need to be protected because you produce electricity, you are using transmission, you have all the devices that make measurements, what is the usage, and at the end, all the users. Try to imagine that someone will attack this kind of critical infrastructure. What can we do? We need to protect it on the first time. And all of these reasons together put all cellular communication in high risk that need to be protected for countries, for terror, as well as just competition between companies.
So what is in the future for cellular networks? How is 5G changing the world of connected devices for enterprises, cities, and of course, nations in general?
Yeah. 5G are mainly lead for three segments. One, it's very high throughput, high bandwidth, working with big bandwidth. The second is low latency. But most important for us today to discuss are billions of devices that are going to be connected to the network. Here we can give, as an example, the smart city. When we are talking about smart city, there are different components like transportation that all citizens of the city need to use the public transportation as well as private. And all of these are using the cellular technology. 5G gives the mission to use, enable the use of billions of devices. As I mentioned before, the critical infrastructure, the electricity that we just discussed, but not only electricity. We can go to the water, to the gas. All elements are going to be connected to the network and need to get the protection. And this is the main lead of the 5G in the, let's say, next 2-3 years. And later on, we will go to the bandwidth and the low latency.
So, of course, there are many mobile security solutions already out there, already available. What makes First Point's tech so unique?
Thank you. As we just saw at the movie from the beginning, we already have 5 patents. And I would like to show you the first one, just to illustrate that, as the anonymity that we are providing to the devices. Each mobile phone or each IoT device has its unique ID. It's called IMSI, International Mobile Subscriber ID. First point, providing full anonymity for the device, meaning that his own IMSI is not going out. It's kept inside, and all the time we are sending different identities. And if someone wants to hack me, you, or the electricity power, he needs first to know the ID. But if you are changing your ID all the time, you cannot attack him. And this is the first element that we are providing full anonymity for our subscriber. The second issue is that we can protect all cellular devices. People regularly using phones. Phones are mainly smartphones that have operational system, OS. But many times you have feature phone with not OS or IoT elements, like all the smart meters of the electricity, water, gas, that have no operational system at all. How you can protect them? First point, providing full security for all kind of devices, independent on the operational system, Android, iOS, whatever. And the third element, again, we have 5, but the third major one is the transparent for the user. If you are using regular solution, you need to download something on your device. It's slow down the CPU and using your battery. With First Point, you are totally transparent. It's something that we are installing on the network base. We are calling network-based solution. And we have a feature on the SIM, eSIM, vSIM element that's changing your ID. And by building all of this together, we are the powerful solution that exists today. But most important is the last element. We are not going for the individual guy. We are going for enterprise, for big organization. And we are providing to the CISO a sophisticated dashboard. He is getting a full control that he can get all information, provide rules, and protect the regular worker, the marketing guy, the sales guy, as well as the CEO for armies, in order to protect against terror. You have different policies, And each organization has its own CISO, his main person that's on charge of the security. And by the dashboards that we are providing, there is a comprehensive solution for all kinds of attack, fully transparent, full anonymity, and very easy to use to the end user.
Great. Dror, thank you so much for coming in today and sharing your technology with us.
Thank you very much.
All the best.
Bye.
All right, I want to bring Danny Yatom back into the conversation. Thank you for staying with us.
Thank you.
So a couple of years ago, the Mossad launched a venture capital fund to develop technologies, many of which are related to homeland security. Do you think these will eventually generate civilian startups in the same way that traditional defense industries have?
Yeah, the Mossad decided in 2017 to launch a venture capital fund in order to being able to develop and later on to purchase pioneering technologies in cooperation and close cooperation with high-tech industries in Israel. As a matter of fact, we follow the steps of the CIA that maintains much bigger and huge fund for its own practices and own missions. I think that it is a very important initiative, a very interesting one, while the rules are the following. The Mossad invests money in order to develop few technologies. The Mossad also decide about the technologies. Now, the Mossad has the right and accessibility to use those technologies without getting any royalties or equity, even though the Mossad is the investor, the main investor. And there are no restrictions about the IP, which is developed. It is in conjunction to a long experience through many, many years where the Israeli Defense Forces and the intelligence apparatuses cooperate very closely with the high-tech technologies industries in Israel. And together, as General Gilad said previously, we are being able, with the industries, to develop and to build new devices which might be very helpful for the missions of the Mossad. With your permission, I would like to relate to the issue of robots that we have seen previously. Yes. I myself served for 10 years in Special Forces, in Sayeret Matkal, and I can appreciate very much the trend of developing new, modern, automated, even so to speak, devices. It is very important because in the Special Forces, the missions are so that when you get the mission, not necessarily you have all the information. And you have first and foremost to gather information on the spot. And instead of sending soldiers that might get hurt, you send the robot into a built-up area. And the robot transmits through its cameras information about the whereabouts, about the place, about the mills, about the buildings, etc. And in addition to it, it is very, very important to get the awareness. If the robot detects an enemy, might it be a terrorist or somebody else who should be the mission of the operation, it is highly important to get as much information as possible about what is going on by those terrorists in the unseen areas behind the walls.
Interesting. Danny and Tom, thank you for contributing that today. Okay, let's move on now to Lieutenant Colonel Ioana Vasilopoulou, head of the Support and Missions Department of the Hellenic Police, International Police Cooperation Division. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us. So if you could please start by telling us a little bit about how you're adopting HLS technologies and what kind of technologies the Hellenic Police can find in Israel.
Please allow me to start by thanking the Improvate on their initiative to hold this video conference, which I believe will contribute to enhancing Homeland Security. It is a great pleasure for me to participate, and I'm looking forward to its conclusions. As for your question, according to the Hellenic Police white paper recently presented by the Minister for Citizen Protection, Mr. Michalis Pisopoidis, the Hellenic Police closely follow and exploit advances in technology, while at the same time they adjust and keep in pace with social change. Globalization and climate change have turned the spotlight of new major challenges humanity is facing, like the migratory pressure or the pandemic, which together with technological breakthroughs have created a new global environment. Challenges, risks, and threats have become the order of the day, and for this reason, the planning and implementation of security policies and actions focus on the protection of the everyday life of citizens against man-threats, like the organized crime or various forms of violence, but also against natural and technological disasters and accidents. The critical infrastructures, networks, and communications supporting the daily workings of the country should be shielded from all kinds of threats, including hybrid attacks and cyber sabotage. The internet, the greatest technological revolution of our era, is also a place that involves hidden dangers and threats. Terrorism and organized crime are among the most serious threats to global and European security, as they have strong cross-border dimension and have rapidly evolved over the last years by taking advantage of new technological developments. So cooperation and coordination among services and information sharing are crucial factors in tackling these threats. Greece plays an active part in global, European, and regional initiatives against these threats. It makes use of all information sharing tools to their full extent and has strengthened its cooperation with the European Union agencies like Europol, Eurojust, Frontex, etc., and other countries' agencies and services in USA, in Israel, through bilateral strategic partnerships, as well as through special transnational operational teams. It therefore heavily invests in stepping up international police cooperation. Moreover, the crisis in Evros River has contributed to nurturing a new culture of interoperability between the armed forces and the security forces in managing border crisis under the coordination, of course, of Greece National Security Council. So Hellenic police of the 21st century are being modernized. They become smarter by using new technologies and innovative systems in their operation, and they become digital by reducing paperwork, using information and communication systems, and providing digital services to citizens. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you as well. And one last question for you. How do you think technology can help facilitate cooperation between police authorities across borders of different countries?
Well, as security is an issue that concerns us all, and given that threats and risks have become part of our daily lives, first of all, it becomes evident that policing cannot exist without mutual understanding, and security cannot be achieved without cooperation. I said before that terrorism and organized crime are among the most serious threats to global and European security, as they have strong cross-border dimension and have rapidly evolved over the last years by taking advantage of new technological developments. So cooperation and coordination among services and information sharing are crucial factors in tackling these threats. At the Hellenic Police Headquarters, there are 3 units responsible for information sharing, Cyrene, Europol, and Interpol operating around the clock. Moreover, since 2014, it has been established a single point of contact for the exchange of information, and it is about to start operating around the clock too as a point of contact for international operational police cooperation. It will embody all institutionalized channels of communication with international and European authorities, falling within the competence of International Police Cooperation Division, and in accordance, of course, with European standards and best practices in place. This center will be inter alia responsible for ensuring the exchange of information on preventing and combating crime, as well as the conduct of operation against transnational crime in cooperation with Hellenic Police Intelligence Division or other competent Hellenic divisions, police divisions. It will also be responsible for immediately handling urgent cases transmitted by foreign or national judicial and law enforcement authorities, and for supervising and coordinating the competent national authorities in dealing with matters relating to international police and judicial cooperation. Therefore, it is self-evident that technology can be a useful tool, not only useful, a unique tool in achieving these objectives. Thank you.
All right, Ioana Vassilopoulou, thank you very much for your insights. Okay, let's move on now to Andriana Atanasova, who's the Deputy Minister of Transport, Information, Technology, and Communications of the Republic of Bulgaria, and has over 20 years of experience in the fields of telecommunications and European affairs. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us today.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank you for this invitation, because the conference is very interesting, and the topics which we discussed, especially for security, it's so wide and so interesting, and we are very in touch in this issue.
It is our pleasure to have you with us today. Well, fifth generation wireless technology, or 5G, brings with it a range of benefits, but it also creates cybersecurity risks. Can you tell us about these risks?
Yes, actually, as you mentioned, 5G gives a range of benefits, and your colleagues already mentioned that this broad mobile network, high-speed communications, low latency, and possibility for huge amount of connected devices. This is the main topic that is very interesting for us, and we have to be very sensitive for these connecting devices. At the same time, the new technology creates the risk and challenges to guarantee the security of mobile networks and networks, users of these networks. The security of the next generation mobile network, as well as cybersecurity in particular, in today's world is prerogative and a paramount need for our citizens and economy, contributing to global prosperity, in reality highly dependent on digital world. The European Cybersecurity Strategy, which was presented in December 2020, outlining many aspects of cybersecurity policy. The strategy emphasizes on the ensuring high level of cybersecurity of Internet of Things, as more than 25 billion devices are expected to be connected by 2025. This means that the market for connected devices will open up the possibility for exploring uncovered risks. The European Commission, in its report on the implementation of EU 5G cybersecurity toolbox, recommended that the member states take the necessary action to coordinate the risk-based approach, in particular risk mitigation measures regarding the use of untrusted providers in the construction of the networks. The measurements taken should respond appropriately and proportionality to the identifying the future risks. The EU Toolbox and EU Coordinated Risk Assessment provide guidance on the objective criteria that can be used to assess the risk profile and critical and sensitive components of the network. It is clear that not only governments, but also stakeholders have to cooperate in these issues. Joint efforts and close cooperation with strategic partners, such like Israel, that is a leader in cybersecurity issues, would also be extremely useful to predict and deal with cyber risk and guarantee the cybersecurity of 5G networks.
And what do states need to be doing to manage these risks? And what kind of technologies should they be looking at to do so?
Maybe I will speak from our point of view because I don't know what exactly will be happening in other countries. But Bulgarian national policy in the field of 5G reflects on the EU efforts to establish a coordinated approach presented in detail in the EU Toolbox, which I mentioned, for risk mitigation measures for 5G networks. The steps taken at the national level to ensure the secure transition to the 5G networks are part of this common approach, where there is an understanding that in ensuring cybersecurity of all new digital networks and services should be followed the principle of security by design. A wide range of institutions at national level are committed to contribute to the safe and secure deployment of 5G in Bulgaria. We are looking at the security aspects of 5G network with a view of achieving technological sovereignty while respecting EU rules and values. The recent adopted changes in our electronic communication law are strengthening the power of the national regulatory authority with regard to define the requirements for the security of electronic communication networks. In this regard, the Bulgarian Communication and Regulation Commission set up two advisory councils on the security of public electronic communication network and services. These councils includes representatives from various institutions, such as Ministry of Transport, Information Technology and Communications, Ministry of Interior, National Security Agency, and other stakeholders. The tasks of these councils are to establish the rules on the minimum security requirements for public electronic communication networks and services and risk management methods for their security. In conclusion, I would like to emphasize that an essential element to ensure the security of 5G networks is the creation of a certification scheme related to network components and process of equipment suppliers, and indeed supported by the group for coordination of 5G network and the information security at the European Commission. Thank you very much for my...
Adriana, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, Roy Shmuel is the CEO of HLSTECH, a computer vision and AI startup company which develops visual situation awareness software for autonomous drone flights. HLSTECH's NavSight system provides visual situation awareness for autonomous drone missions, including GPS-free navigation, safe landing, and real-time autonomous inspection. NavSight turns off-the-shelf cameras into smart, affordable sensors that enable the drone to see and understand its surroundings, just like a human pilot. Thank you so much for joining me, Roy.
Thank you, Ronen.
Sounds very interesting. Thank you, of course, for joining us. What are the main barriers for autonomous HLS and delivery drone missions? And how does HLSTECH help solve these problems that you introduced?
Sure. So the number one problem when we talk about autonomous missions and autonomous drone flights is first and foremost safety. It's all about whether you can remove the human pilot of the equation, remove the people from the actual operation, and still maintain high level of safety. So companies like HLSTECH, what we do is to prove that technology can remove the person out of the loop, but still take care of safety. For example, in Israel, we have an ongoing project which is pretty ambitious called Naama for autonomous deliveries and how to manage autonomous airspace, if you will. You can see now in the video how SciTech demonstrated as part of this program how a drone can actually navigate and land safely even when you turn off the GPS. So those drones, in this experiment, we show that once GPS is blocked, the drone, again, like a human pilot, can understand where it is, can position itself, and can bring to safe landing, which is crucial just to make sure that when we let those autonomous drones to fly, we still do not risk ourselves.
Of course. And you know, how can drones bring value today to the HLS markets?
So I think this is actually a revolution in the market, what we see today, the ability to use robots in different ways. And there are different cool companies that presented today, and I saw some fascinating technologies. And when we talk about drones and autonomous missions, this is the ability to have an eye in the sky. And this eye in the sky enables you to bring actionable insights on the scene. And as you can see here, help in security missions, first responders, and also surveillance missions. And by that, it can bring a lot of value in digitalization and automation of the entire mission. And I think this is quite remarkable.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, how can SciTech help companies improve their operations in the European market and even beyond that?
Sure. So by bringing advanced machine vision for those autonomous flights, it opens it opens multiple opportunities, both in the delivery market with those autonomous drone missions that hopefully will take off soon. It opens lots of opportunities, as I said, in the security market, can help in first responders in missions like police missions, fires, that Europe, for example, and other markets, you know, as we see global warming and we see fires everywhere, you need to manage those emergency situations. And instead of risking people in the mission, like fire troops, you can use this eye in the sky in order to collect the actionable data that will help the troops to handle the emergency situation. And clearly also in different surveillance missions, you could use those autonomous drones to collect and gather the right data to improve the mission and automate it.
All right, great. Roy, thank you for bringing us this innovation. I want to turn the conversation now to you, Danny, and ask you if you have anything to comment about what we just heard about.
Yeah, I think that launching drones into the battlefield or into any other missions launched by police force in order to get information on a real-time basis and in order to open the vision so that the commander of the force and the force will be able to see also what's going on behind the hill. It is almost a revolution. I remember that we did not have it. But I remember also that Israel was the first one to develop drones or unpiloted vehicles, the way we called it previously. And as I said, in a battlefield, there is not order. You know exactly how do you enter, you don't know how do you get out from the battlefield. Too many surprises. All of a sudden, somebody opens fire from there, and an artillery fires from there. And not necessarily you know exactly about the whereabouts of all your soldiers. Drones will help you to cope with all those issues and much beyond, or much more beyond, and to overcome one of the main lacking element for a commander, from the level of company commander and above. And this is to create an angle of vision that only the drone can create because it is the eye in the sky and helps you day and night, because there are also night vision goggles, day and night, to at least get much more information about what you do not see, but you might meet on the other side of the hill.
Amos, we've seen a lot of interesting technologies and presentations about different innovations today. How do you see the importance of private sector initiatives such as Improvate in bringing together governments in different countries with technology companies, as well as connecting between the technology companies themselves, both in general and specifically with regard to homeland security?
The cooperation between both sectors is crucial to get the goals and to gain. Unlike the past that we, in the security system, intelligence system, IDF system, we used to be the pioneers because all resources were there. Today, the technology is moving so fast and it's so inspiring and so important that the key to the future is in the cooperation and coordination between both sectors. That's the key. Whoever will not have this cooperation will lose. And that's the advantage of the United States, Israel, and the Western world. Of course, other sides do have many advantages, but this is the key, in my opinion.
Okay, Amos and Danny, both of you, thank you very much for being with me at this conference today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Eli and Lior Peltz are a father and son team who established and run EMG, Electronic Management Group. EMG was founded in Jerusalem in 1989 by Eli Peltz, a former officer in the Intelligence Corps Unit 8200. And in 2013, his son Lior joined the company and currently serves as CTO. Like I said, it was established in 1989, and EMG specializes in consulting, planning, and integrating a wide range of extra low voltage systems and cyber protection for OT systems with a holistic and comprehensive vision for each project. Thank you both for joining me today.
Thank you.
All right, Eli, I want to start with you. OT and HLS are very broad categories, of course. Could you touch on which aspects you cover specifically?
I will divide it to three main categories. The first category is the physical security, that including perimeter security, access control, CCTV, and integrated command and control applications. The second category is the ICS and BMS systems that control and manage all the electromechanical systems in the facility. That include the air condition, the electricity, the elevators, and things like that, which are the core operational technology systems that allow the functionality and continuity of the site. The third category is the command and control centers that integrate all the technology and all the systems in one place. On the top of all of that, we need to have the tailor-made cyber security for the site.
So, Lior, the next question's for you. How do you address cybersecurity into the world of HLS and OT systems?
Well, the key role of the security systems and the operational technology, like industrial control systems, is to protect our assets and our facilities and allow them to, for business continuity and to allow them to operate and do their job. The security systems can be seen as the outer layer of the defense in-depth approach. This is the first line of defense, the physical line of defense for our operational technology and for our site, the access control, the physical access control to the sensitive areas of our sites. And the OT and the industrial control system, BMS and SCADA systems, they are the core function, as my father said, for the operational technology of the site, to allow the business to continue to work, to support our data centers and computers, and to allow the functionality of the elevators so that people can go through the site and work. And in the last decade, we've seen a rise on a trend in the cybersecurity on operational technology. We can see it in a lot of places around the world, and it inflicts directly on the homeland security. It's inflicting on our critical sites. And the main reason that we see it is because the OT, the operational technology, has been neglected for a long time. Not technology-wise, but the knowledge gap. There is a knowledge gap that we can see. It starts from the clients, goes through the integrators that install these systems. They have a knowledge gap, cybersecurity-wise. They know how to operate and how to install the operation technology, but they don't have the knowledge cybersecurity-wise. And it goes up to the consultants that they may be expert in operational security and security systems, but they still have a knowledge gap, a big knowledge gap. And this leads for a situation that our sites, our facilities around the country are exposed. They are exposed to many threats, cyber threats. And as time goes by and the attacks will continue and grow in complexity, it can be really affect our nation. So we have to address that.
So how is EMG overcoming this knowledge gap that you describe?
Well, EMG is a consulting engineer group. We are not representing a product or manufacturer. We are representing the client. So we build up a multidisciplinary team with a lot of experts, expert in industrial control systems, expert in security systems, and expert in cybersecurity systems. Each of one of them is a multidisciplinary expert. He knows a little bit about cyber, and the cyber expert knows a little bit about security in ICS. So together we build a holistic and comprehensive solution that fits the client. It's extremely important to understand the limitation and capabilities of the clients. So a part of our services is to do threat analysis and asset mapping, to understand the facility, to understand the needs, the threats that this facility faces. And it's critical to understand the capability and limitation and the budgets of the client to give him the proper solution. The worst thing that can happen is to give a very sophisticated cyber solution for operational technology that the client cannot handle. It's much worse than the cyber attacks itself. So this is our strategic advantage. We know how to tailor-made this solution for the specific client and project.
So who exactly are your clients, and what types of projects are you getting involved in?
Well, our projects is varied. We have a lot of government ministries, like Defense Ministry, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Treasury, the IDF. We did a lot of plants, like ACL, the chemical plants. We've designed the courts and the Supreme Courts, prisons, hospitals, transportation facilities, and parliaments. The last big project we have is the Parliament of Kenya. All of those are part of the HLS, part of the Homeland Security, to make them operate and function is our job, to protect them.
Lots of large organizations I can see. So we see a clear overlap between HLS, OT, and cybersecurity. Where do we go from here? What does the future look like?
Well, so we are already there. We are dependent as a society on technology. And it's also in operation technology. The technology has been involved. It's already based on TCP IP communication. The IoT revolution is very exciting, but it brings with that an expansion of the attack surface of our homeland. Our enemies and hackers and criminals have a lot of attack surface, a lot of places they can influence and hurt our society. So there is no going back. We cannot go back to the analog era. We need to address these threats and move forward. And we have to evolve. We have to evolve. It starts from the clients. The OT staff have to evolve, have to gain the knowledge, to bridge the gap. It goes to the integrators that supply and install this system. They have to evolve and bridge the gap and come to the cyber, have the people with the know-how, how to address these threats. And it comes way up to the consultants and the engineers that design those systems. They have to evolve and give a holistic, comprehensive solution. You cannot separate it. I will say, to finalize, I will say that there's a lot of simple things that each facility can do in the operational technology that eliminates 90% of the threat very easily. And this is the main goal. The other 10% is for the sites, the critical site that are targeted by nation states. But the 90% of our facilities can bridge the gap very easily with the right coordination. And this is our goal.
Interesting. Ellie and Lior Peltz, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Okay, one final question for you, President Plevneliev. Are you still hanging in there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful. So we've heard today about diverse aspects of homeland security, about threats and challenges, and about the opportunities for innovation and technology companies. What is your message to Israeli companies seeking to expand their operations in Europe in these fields?
Dear Laureen, first of all, I want to thank you because you are, but once again, you proved to be a great moderator. I want to thank Improvate team because those guys behind the curtains, they're doing an amazing job. As a president, I participate in so many conferences, but you guys are the best. And we're enjoying that, and we will continue doing our best. Improvate is unique because it's not just bringing so many people all over the world together, but it's bringing solutions to the countries, to industries that are in need. And today we saw so many solutions. We saw amazing products. We saw amazing companies. But also I was extremely impressed about the wisdom and especially about the two generals, Amos and Danny. That once and again, they said about the ecosystem, the mechanism of cooperation that exists in Israel between government and private industries, between big and small companies, startups and developed companies. And that ecosystem is bringing amazing results. And we also heard that actually there is no way to solve all those pressing issues unless we cooperate. And the European Union is open for cooperation. Southeast Europe is willing and open to cooperate with Israeli companies. You guys have a great image, great reputation. You have a great product, and you're welcome. And most of the countries also we saw represented today. Greece, a wonderful country that is a strategic partner of Israel. Bulgaria, Romania, and many others representing also the European Union actually are having bilateral close ties to Israel. But also we have the umbrella of the European Union with its huge and sheer size of the market. So we listen very carefully, we communicate very efficiently to Improvate, but Improvate is about bringing together, coming together, and of course making business. And governments need to address those pressing issues, and they are open to do business. And of course, a lot of industries are emerging, are coming, and only through cooperation we can make them bigger and more successful. I'm proud to be with you. Any day, any conference I'm with you, I'm learning more. I'm even more and more excited. Now the pandemics, it seems to be, let's say, slowing down. New exciting things are coming from vaccines to 5G everywhere. And it is the right time through Improvate to really come together. Israeli companies are welcome in Southeast Europe. We're expecting them. And soon we're going to organize a lot of events to see the market, to understand the market, and to work on those big markets that are important also for Israel. Thank you very much again. Of course, God bless you. We're now coming to our Easter holidays. And again, everybody is looking at Jerusalem with hope and with faith.
President Plevneliev, thank you so much for your kind words. And as always, it is a pleasure to have you as part of another Improvate conference.
Thank you.
All the best. And that's it from Improvate's Homeland Security Europe-Israel Conference. We've heard today from former world chess champion Garry Kasparov, from top homeland security and cybersecurity experts from Israel and Europe, and from leading Israeli technology companies. Improvate is all about access and connections, exposing Israeli tech leaders to governments and companies around the world to promote businesses whose goal is innovation. The exposure right here at this conference is a first step. The next step, delegations and real-world business connections. We want to thank all of you for taking part and hope this is just the start of doing business together, making technology accessible to all, and improving the lives of people across the world. Keep an eye out for Improvate's Smart Cities Conference on May 27th. I'm Lauren Izzo. Thank you so much for joining us today.